All right, I think we are live. I think we're good. And we are here. Welcome to episode 2 of DIGIBRO versus everybody!
Yo, I'm actually on mic and I have headphones on.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. We're gonna be like legit. I'm gonna put the fucking game volume up just a little bit because that's appropriate. And I'll give myself a little sound effects. Yeah, no, less sound effects. There we go. Alright, well, let's go ahead and just start fucking throwing people in who want to argue with me, I guess, as we jump into the level. Actually, I should probably buy some fucking monomate before I jump into the level, but you can go ahead and throw somebody into the call. We got May on Call Duty now.
Alright, let's
Call
see.
of Duty.
Let's pick Dean the Defender.
Dean the Defender.
Alright.
Alright.
He's been added.
We got Dean.
Oh.
Dean, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You ready to fight? What do you want to fight about?
Fuck, man. I didn't expect to be like. I wanted to like, get some time to warm up, but I just want to like. I'm expecting this to be a long conversation. Like, I got notes. Let me just say that first of all.
All right.
I got notes.
All right. I look forward to notes.
I really appreciate your work. I'm relatively like a new follower of you, and I really appreciate your work. And I see myself in you, and that's why like yesterday I was surprised. Not yesterday. Yeah, I guess yesterday. Yesterday I saw the first show, and someone touched on a topic that was in that show, and I was just surprised to hear your opinion on that. And the guy was horrible at like arguing you, man. The guy, like, I feel like he didn't know his stuff.
About, so I can judge whether I think so as well.
Oh yeah, and also I was gonna ask you if you want me to even talk about this because yeah, it's the first part, you know, at the 20-minute mark about the guy saying 10% of all lollies are lollicons are fucking pedals or some shit. You remember that guy?
Yeah, I remember that guy.
Oh boy.
That guy. And the thing about it is, okay, and I just want to know before, like, I don't want to like. If you guys don't want to have this conversation, just tell me now. So I don't want to like. Cause
look, this is the argument show. The whole point of this show is that I argue with everybody about whatever they want to argue about. So if you got something you want to fucking argue about,
in the end or something, you know.
Well, just get to your argument. Just.
Alright, okay. So what do I got right here? Okay, so I want to know something about you. I want to know like your views on certain things before I get into like fully fighting this.
Right.
Okay, so
that's
he was
safe,
arguing.
Safe thing to do because oftentimes these arguments deflate before they even begin on the basis of such things.
Yes.
But yes, go ahead.
All right. So he was arguing, I think yesterday, that watching lolly hentai can lead to people viewing illegal, you know, child pornography. And before I get into it, I'm not trying to even argue that.
You're allowed to say the words child pornography. It doesn't make me
okay, got it. It's on Twitch. I don't know, bro. I don't want to get you banned, but so what was I gonna say? Yes, I'm not trying to argue his point exactly. But I just want to know before we go into this, are you aware of like, you know, the chronophilias?
No.
Like pedophilia.
Okay, I know about hebephilia.
Epiphilia.
I've never heard of chronophilia.
Okay, well, chronophilia is just an all-encompassing thing for, you know, having like, you know, I guess like a sexual inclination to a certain age group or whatever. So a phebophilia, I think that's how you pronounce it, is from like 15 to 19. Hebephilia is what the fuck? 11 to 14. There it is. Right. And then pedophilia, the big bad one, you know.
Well, none of them are great. None of them are legal in most places.
But that's the one that everyone just like shoots left and right. Pedo.
Well,
you know?
That's because most people don't know the other terms. They just use it as a blanket term for anything under 18, basically.
Exactly. And I just want to get that clear before we get into this conversation. And I want to ask you your thing. But and then there's pedo, which is from 10 to 12 or whatever. Right. So when this conversation is happening, going through, I'm going to be using the word pedo.
Sorry, the main characters from Phantasy Star Universe just showed up in this game, and I didn't know that would happen. Sorry, this is nerding out because this game only matters to me, and that's why we're playing it. Anyway, continue.
No problem, man. That game was really fun. But yeah, so when I use the word pedophilia in this conversation, I'm going to be just using it as a blanket term. So I don't want anyone to like, critique me and be like, oh wait, but pedo is this age and this age. So
right, I don't.
I'm using it as a blanket term. You for that. And I just want to know from your if you don't want to say it, like I think you wouldn't because you're in the
just
social.
Go ahead.
Okay,
just
got it.
Just do
it. Would you classify yourself as any one of these, or ever once was any one of these?
As ever once was? If you are underage and you're attracted to people your own age, are you that?
No. Wait. I'm not talking about like if you're like their age. I'm talking about have you ever once been, would classify as like an ephebophile? Were you ever like attracted to?
I mean, I've definitely been attracted to women who were under the age of 18, considering it's honestly not something you can easily tell just by looking at a lot of women.
Age is just a number. Our bodies are meant to be attracted to developed women. Sometimes that's 15 to 16 years old. I think the law, like, it's what makes the most sense, but it's pretty natural to say that you're attracted to somebody who is an adult.
Right, like, I think it's fair to say that, like, I think that we are capable as humans of making the distinction between what I'm attracted to and what I think it's okay to fuck, So, like, if you ask me, am I attracted to women under 18? Sure, I've been attracted to, to some before, but do I think I would ever want to pursue a relationship of any kind with them? No, because I know better.
Exactly, and I'm just talking about the pure attraction, not the, the intercourse or whatever, because being a file just says you are attracted to the person. Doesn't mean you're a sex offender, Right. So I just want to get that out. So at some point, okay, got it, I understand. So we're on the same page here. All right, so next point, where are we at? So I just want to I guess it'll be easier. Like I was planning on writing, separating my argument more, but I guess we can just do it this way. Let's just break it down.
Just fucking lunge through it all. Just read your
got
notes
it. I'll
off.
just break.
No
all
hesitation.
Right. So, you claim that there's no evidence that people who watch Lolly go on to watch CP.
Yes.
And I just want to know, do you wholeheartedly, if from your experience, because we all, there's no survey, there's no statistic. We're all talking from our life experiences. I don't know how common you are or how you frequent the Lolly groups or discords or whatever.
Okay.
But
let me tell you right now, fuck Lolly groups, Lolly discords. Everyone I know looks at Lolly porn because no one gives a fuck. Like the people I was friends with growing up who were anime fans, they didn't give a fuck. The people who I know in my everyday life, it helps that I've been surrounded by anime fans and I've been an influence on people as well. But I've never known anyone who thought this was there's only one person I've ever known who was a lolicon who said that he was concerned about himself, but only because he had read a book that was meant to make you afraid of that. There's a great manga that is intending to tell the exact story that is painted, by people who are afraid of child porn turning people into pedophiles. It is that story, and it's a lot of people will read that and be like, oh god, what if this is me? But they don't do it, because it's just a story. It's all just stories based on what has happened in reality or what seems likely but is not necessarily real, and yeah, everyone's got their own fucking story. Anyway, I'm rambling. Did I answer your question?
Right,
I'm not even sure.
So you're basically saying that from your experience, only basically one person has ever worried for themselves, and that's
one person I've known who was a lolicon, and not to say that I've talked to gone out of my way to talk to a ton of lolicons or anything, but most of the people who I've been friends with have had at least some inclination towards it, or at the very least didn't care because they saw it as drawings,
All right. So, from my experience, I've been I've been into lolly. I guess when I got serious into hentai, to be honest, like once I got into hentai, I just jumped straight into deep end, and that was like around 6th grade. So I was finding like I was meeting people at a young age. Not meeting people like, you know, in person, but I was exposed. I was exposed to this environment at a young age, and I wasn't like, you know, putting myself out there. I knew about internet safety, but point is, I got deep. I got really deep. I was a furry, and I got into like furry lolly communities, and I got into just normal lolly communities. And if you go like really deep, and you could spot people, and you could tell by like how the way they talk and their mannerisms, and like they things they pass off as jokes, that they do, like, you know how like every
glasses.
People,
I mean, like, yeah, there's
even
people
like,
out there who you can tell.
Yeah.
But like you said, you have to go deep. You have to go deep into a, like, lolicon bed community to find these people. Like, Joe Blow guy who reads X hentai every day does not, like, talk to those communities. Like, I've never talked to anybody like that. I'm sure that they exist, like, absolutely. But, like, I just don't think it's fair to characterize everyone who's interested in a thing based on that. And it's obvious that people who are interested in it are not going to talk about it because they don't want to be seen as that guy. Even though, like, I know so many fucking people who are into lolly just from being in the anime community for 15 years that it, like, seems ludicrous to me, because it's like, well, okay, this many people can't be secret pedophiles. And of course, because I have always been an out lolly man, like, people come to me, you know, like, people will confide in me and admit to me the things that they like that they won't tell other people. And so, like, from my perspective, it's like, man, there's a lot of people who like lolly, but they won't say anything, you know? And that's why, like, I want to be the guy going like, hey, this shit's okay. And I really respect even people like Best Guy Ever, who's not even into lolly and just puts out pro lolly content anyway just to send the message, you know? So that's great.
Yeah. But this group, it's not like, you know, like a, you know, child pornography group. It's just a big lolly group, and you got to go deep to find the people that are into the harder content there. So, but my point is that from my experience, I've seen a great number of, like, percentage, like he said 10%. From my experience, I would just say the discords I'm in right now, I would say it's like around a good 7 to 10% of the people that are there are into that. Yeah. And that's just from my experience. But I just want to say that from my experience, because I know that we were all talking from our experiences, and he was wrong to start putting out numbers when, you know, he didn't have, you know, facts. So I just want to put that there first.
I mean, not that you have facts, you just have your experience versus his, but nonetheless, I mean, like, I'm willing to even accept the idea that, like, 7 to 10% of people who are into lolly are into that or whatever, but, like, that still doesn't, nothing about that says to me is, like, a huge admonishment of lolly, because 10% of people who are into literally anything are shitbags.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you literally pick a fucking things I love, Dark Souls, anime, whatever, like, more than 10%. The people in those communities make me uncomfortable and make me think, man, like, I'm ashamed to be a part of this community, but, like, you know, obviously lolicons just have a little bit more shame than most people, but you gotta fight through it, in my mind.
All right, so here's, I guess, from the way the list is going, this is where a guy stops sucking your dick. So I'm gonna come on the offensive here. So you say that you don't think lolly and CP, I'm gonna call it CP from now on, goes hand in hand. And I agree with you. Yeah.
All right.
I agree with you. It doesn't go hand in hand, but can we at least say that, like, it has a lot of, like, you know, there's things that you can relate things to, like, it's not comparing, like, lollies. I mean, it's not comparing, like, you know, CP to MILFs or something. CP to lollies, I feel like you gotta be, like, at least, you know, upfront, be like, hey, there are similarities. There's a, you know, they're closer to each other than other things, right?
I think that I don't make that much distinction between, like, different porn that I look at, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't say that, you know, even though I call myself like a lolicon and all that shit, I'm not somebody who goes out and looks for lolly porn. I'm just somebody who will look at whatever's hot because it's drawn well, and I don't really care what the girl looks like. And if I'm watching live action, I just care that she's hot too, you know, and like, there are like grown women who I'm not interested in anyone who I know is underage. If you're a grown woman who looks like you're underage, but I know you're 18, that might be attractive, you know, but like, to me, it's the knowledge that it is okay to be attracted to someone that makes them attractive, you know, like, so in the end, like, by having that kind of like, I mean, to me, it seems obvious to just think that way, to like, you can make yourself think that way, you can make yourself, not to say that you can change who you're attracted to, but that like you can, you know, like temper your mind and not fucking think about little girls. Just don't do that and you'll be fine.
Whoa, okay, you said a lot of shit. Okay,
yeah.
Oh my god, this is going another way. So you said basically just now that either the law or your community's morals dictate what you are attracted to?
I would say that it's easy enough to like take that into consideration on how you like, okay, for instance, like Anthony Fantano never liked My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West, right? He's always given it a 6 out of 10, very infamously, even though it's like a beloved classic album everybody likes. And the reason for that is that he doesn't like, categorically, he's just not like into listening to like rich people give egomaniacal rants, because it's just not his steez, really, you know. So he's not into that. And like, to me, like that kind of categorical dismissal of something be on the basis that like it is just like, yeah, I don't like it because it goes against my worldview, you know, and like my worldview is like to protect young people. So like it goes against my worldview to do anything that would hurt them, you know, like regardless if a young person was attractive, like you're not supposed to fuck young people. That should be at the center of people's minds, you know, is that fact.
Yeah, that your actions are gonna impact that person, and if you care about the kids, even if you're sexually attracted to them, then you would know to make the right decision not to hurt somebody.
Right.
I am somebody who loves lollipop porn. Like, I look at Lolly and Girl all the time, and I will admit that. And I've been sexually abused as a child, so I really think this conversation is offensive. I think you should look within, like, the real porn you're looking at and all the stereotypes that they're perpetuating and how harmful they are before you look at animated porn that nobody is getting harmed in the making of. TBH.
Okay, I just want to say, how is this? Because I knew you last episode. I felt that you had some sort of like, you felt some sort of way for this guy, and that's what I was worried about. But how do you think this conversation is offensive? Because I'm trying to come at it from like, I'm not ignorant, you know, like I'm being respectful. I just want to know what am I saying here that sounds that's offensive to you?
I just think this conversation has gone on too long, and you know, next. Let's get somebody else on here.
Wow, alright, well, that's what's gonna... Alright, see ya, man.
Alright. Damn, well, you've gotten your card pulled by the, MC. I think she got uncomfortable listening to the thought of this anymore. Are you alright over there?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm just, like, kind of sick of this topic constantly.
Yeah. Well, because from your perspective, you see it as not much of a question, I would say.
No, because okay, lolly porn is a fucking drawing.
Yeah.
It's representative of people's, like, emotions, their psychology. You're exploring things that are different than real actions and tangible things.
Yeah.
When you're doing real porn, like, those are more effective on culture. Like, the norms that they push, girls acting in a fake way, like faking orgasms and shit, making girls have low self-esteem, that's way more impactful than lolly porn. Like, I'm just saying that that's more harmful and a bigger problem. And I'm not saying that porn is evil. I love porn, and people should express themselves and feel comfortable to express themselves sexually and stuff. And, like, it's a great way for people to relieve themselves, but this is fucking ridiculous. Let's get somebody else on.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because some of the reaction I got on the previous episode from some of my friends was that I didn't just like stomp people into the ground with stuff like because what you just said kind of just ends the conversation immediately. It's like, well, I don't think it's just drawing, so it's just like boom. But part of my theory here is I'm trying to meet people on their terms be like, I want to just weed them until they decide that they agree with me.
Yes,
you know,
definitely. Maybe I'm just, you know, I'm May. So.
But I understand the level of frustration that would emerge from like not just going for the obvious, especially if you were sick of the conversation.
People
so anyway,
aren't
who are we
having
gonna
the
fight
right
next?
conversation. What is wrong with lolly porn?
Nothing in my mind.
I mean, if you can show me stats, go ahead. But nobody has been able to prove anything to me. And I've learned more from lolly porn about my body and what has happened to me. And I think it's a valuable asset and tool, so...
All right. That's enough soapboxing, man. Get me another person in here.
Okay.
I'm fucking getting my ass kicked by some kind of massive beast over here. I think there's like... Hello?
Hey.
Who is this?
I'm Lorenzo.
Lorenzo, what's going on? What you want to fight about?
Hey, so I wanted to ask you a question about not prioritizing your favorites when choosing an anime to watch.
Okay.
I mean by that, for example, back in 2016, you said that Sangatsu no Lion was one of your favorite shows.
Yes.
And that you cried while watching it.
Yeah.
And you loved it. But you still haven't watched any more than the first half of the first season. Why is that?
Well, this isn't really an argument per se, but I'll explain that it's just that there's a lot more that goes into watching a show for me than just being able to sit back and enjoy it. At some point, it was like, well, I should definitely make a video about this show. So now, if I want to watch the show, then that's tied up in it. Like, that feeling of, like, needing to do something based on it. And sometimes, you know, if the timing's not right, there's something else I need to watch for a project, then I'm just never going to get around to shit. So that's basically it. Next guy.
Okay.
Alright.
That was not even really an argument, TBH.
I know.
That was more of a Q&A. I mean, I guess it was like he had a grievance, you know. Anyway, make sure to tell me the names of the people before you put them in, because
Alright.
I gotta be able to say their name. You got
I'm gonna put in Von Horo.
Bon Horo?
Yeah.
Okay, Bon Horo.
Hello, can you listen to me?
Hello, this is Bon Horo.
Do you listen to me?
Yes, I can hear you. You might need to put on
Nice.
headphones because I'm hearing my own voice in the background.
Oh man, that will be kinda hard. Give me a second, please.
You've got exactly 15 seconds or else I will kill myself on stream.
Well,
that's
I can
not
do
true.
this.
That was a joke. I just realized that's probably illegal to say.
I want you to no, wait. Well, this is my question. I think that you watch anime by streaming, right? Like going to websites like Crunchyroll and
Yeah.
oftentimes. Don't you think that the best way to watch anime is by downloading? By downloading the torrent, fixing your player, and all that stuff.
Yeah. It is. It is the best way to watch it, but I'm lazy and I didn't have really good internet at my last place. But now that we have Fios, we've been torrenting everything and it's glorious. So, yeah,
Man,
I agree.
you know that even though if you had a bad internet, torrenting is the best option because when you torrent something, you can just leave the thing to download while you're sleeping and then watch it after you wake up.
But what if I want to watch it right now?
If you watch it right now and have a shitty internet like myself, you can watch it because the internet sucks.
I mean, my internet was good enough to stream. It's just that I didn't want to have to wait like 30 minutes to download something when I can just stream it now. because most of the time when I want to watch something, I want to watch it immediately and not wait for a torrent. So, like, I don't really, like, plan out ahead of time, like, oh, I'm going to watch this on this day, unless it's, like, you know, with a friend or something. But for the most part, it's just like, I feel like watching this shit. Let's load up fucking Crunchyroll and see if it's good. I mean, if I'm watching a Ghibli movie, I'm not going to watch it streamed. I'm going to torrent it because, you know. That's not even true, actually. I watched a bunch of them streamed, but now that I've got the internet connection, this is a stupid argument. Let's bring the next person in.
Alright.
It was important for me.
Let's get in Cappy.
Alright.
Oh my god, it has finally happened.
Cappy, what's going on? Thank you for all the
hi.
amazing fan art and the background that we still use.
Still, each time I see a TV, I'm like, oh shit, is it there? Is it there? Oh, yes. A small victory, but I'm happy. I appreciate it.
Alright, so what do you want to argue with me about?
Alright, so this has been bugging me for a very long time. I don't know if you made a video about this. And just to start, from beginning, we have absolutely nothing in common. And I've pretty much heard all of your life. I cannot relate to any of it.
Amazing.
Yet I can't, yeah, and I don't know why I'm giving so much money, but whatever. We only have anime in common. But there's one detail in your life that I cannot accept.
Yes.
Will you stop using paper plates?
What is your problem with the paper plates?
Why are you using paper plates almost daily?
Because you don't have to clean them. What are you talking about? Obviously.
But once you're done with it, it's not like it will magically disappear. It has to go into your house first and then leave. A plate only goes in once and you don't have to bother with a plate ever in your life.
I mean, once I'm done with the paper plate, I just drop it in the trash and I never see it again.
Yeah, how much more trash is that? Like, how many paper plates per week?
I don't know, 8? Maybe? They don't take up that much space.
Do you reuse them?
What do you say?
Are you reusing them? How are you only using 8?
I just don't use that many plates. I don't think I even use a plate every day. Like, I don't eat everything off. Like, you know, sometimes you go out to eat, sometimes you get fast food, sometimes you're eating a bowl of cereal, sometimes I'm just eating food I eat with my hands. I just don't, I mean, you know, we cook sometimes, and not always do we use the paper plate if it's something that won't, like, you know, fit. But I just think it's way easier than washing dishes. Washing dishes sucks.
I mean, yeah, it does sucks, but it's just something to do. Just have time to...
No, it's something that you have to do.
Yeah,
see, it's one thing if you are bored and you go wash the dishes, then it's something to do. If you have stuff occupying your time all the time and you have to take a break from that to go wash the dishes, then it's a fucking pain in the ass. You see what I'm saying?
I guess. I just feel like I'm the endorphin of finishing one small task. Like, oh yes, I've done something with my day. All right.
I mean, I feel as though I am doing that every hour or so. You know, human content machine and all.
To be honest, my whole argument and my whole fear just got destroyed as soon as you said, "How many do you just ate?" I'm like, holy fuck! I was expecting much worse.
Yeah. Well, there you go. All right, that's it for you then.
That's all that I got. Thank you.
Have fun. Bring in the next one.
All right.
Where are you at? Did you?
I'm in the area. I don't know where you are.
Where? Not even. I can't even. Well, because your game is closed out, so I can't see. Did you already go back to the ship?
I'm in the area.
The area that I'm in?
Yeah. You
I
will
don't
see me.
see you anywhere.
Let's see. This person is Praise the Sun?
Praise the Sun is a Dark Souls meme.
Word. He's in there.
Hey, who is Praise the Sun? Hello? You there? He said he's in the call, right?
He is.
Hello! Well, he's not answering, so I think we're gonna have to replace him. You missed your shot, bruh. Can't hear you if you're there. Hey, I unlocked the story progression.
This person is Anigdon. I don't know. Something. There you go.
Anageddon, I think.
Anageddon.
Anageddon? You there? Anageddon. You put him in, right?
I did.
Am I just, like, not hearing people anymore for some reason, or what?
No, I was just muted.
Oh. Well, alright. What do you want to argue about?
Oh, my goodness. Well, you put me on the spot here.
Well, yeah, I mean, you called in to argue, I assume.
Well, at first it was a listen, but I was formulating something at the same time.
Alright, well, let's fight.
I mean, I guess if something is, wait a second, it might be something to go back on something, because that guy earlier was going a little too deep earlier about, you know, like lolly-related and child porn stuff, but let's back it up and simplify, because instead of that whole complicated topic, I guess it's a bit of a question, but with an argument at the same time. Or I guess it's more like, what exactly is the appeal of lollies? 'Cause I'll watch, like, so many of your videos and everything. It's like, I'm understanding it to, like, the fullest extent, because all I'm just seeing is that it's just a bunch of, like, little kids, or
what is the appeal of
characters that look like little kids?
I mean, what is the appeal of anything that you like? I mean, I could write an analysis video, I guess. I don't think I can summarize it in a sentence, but I don't know, man. They're cute. They look good. I don't know how to... I don't even feel like I can't frame this in terms of an argument, since you just kind of asked me a question.
Because, I mean, I wouldn't really say it's, like, the worst thing in the world. Like, I can understand with some shows, but it's almost like I just don't get it sometimes when some people go, like, so deep with some of it, and I
feel that way about people who like football. Like, I mean, everybody likes their shit, you know?
I mean, it's more of a device to tell a story. Like, there are certain stories and scenarios that depend on the character being, like, young and cute
that is also
and dependent.
very true.
So I think, like, a lot of porn that is narrative driven would include lollies to have, like, certain characters.
Yeah, certain character. Like, if you wanted to portray, like, you know, like certain, like, relationships that maybe would not be healthy in real life, but because you can explore them through the art, you can, you know, gain some understanding of the world around you. And that is why stuff is cool. Does that answer your question well enough?
So you're saying it's almost like, I guess, almost an interpretation and a look into just like a whole different, like, almost look at the world in a way?
Well, I mean, lollies for me, it depends on the certain character. Like, I'm not attracted to them all. It's mainly a personality thing.
Well, I mean, I'm not attracted to all of anything. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know, like, I think that everyone has... I mean, I'm a picky fuck about literally everything. Like, the way I am about anime or music is the way I am about literally anything. So, like, to say that I'm I'm a big lolicon guy, and then people are like, here's a lolly, no, it ain't like that, alright? Like, I like shit that's good. I just like anything that's good, regardless of what it happens to be depicting. So that's why I like lollies, because there happens to be stuff that is good and features them, you know?
You know, that is a valid point. I can't really say I disagree there.
Alright, well, that's it for you then. May, bring in the next one.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad I found some kind of cogent thing to say out of that. So I was not sure if I would.
Let's get the Devu.
The Devu. Devu is the first returning guest on the show in that case.
He's in here.
Devu, you there? Davu! We gotta get some kind of system where we, like...
Hello, hi.
Can make sure people have their mics on first. What's going on?
My audible need.
What you want to argue about?
Well, okay, one, I'm on my phone. Two, the only reason I'm in this chat is because the Twitch loads too fucking slow. So every time I get brought in, I'm like, what the... Oh, shit. I didn't think I'd get picked.
I gotta see if I can change something about that, because people keep telling me that, like, it's stuck at 1080p or something like that.
I've never been able to watch Twitch streams my entire life because I've never had good enough internet. I don't know if... Here's a debate. I don't even know if I have a side in it. Who is more responsible for your Patreon going down? You for changing the style of your content, or me for taking way the fuck too long to finish editing?
Or me.
I don't think it's any of... Well, okay. What's responsible for my Patreon going down is definitely me taking a gigantic break for, like, to just go work on, like, whatever, you know, big project I was trying to plan and not communicating with anybody in that time. Like, I think that... Because the Patreon didn't really start declining until, like, this year. Like, it wasn't exactly in decline, like, in a major way, until the period where I just was, like, doing one video a month, and, you know, the side stuff that I was doing was not impressive. And I think when, like, Digi Daily was coming out all the time, and, like, I think at some point, because there were hours and hours of my content that were out there that were, like, the low-level stuff, whereas the high-level stuff was only coming out, like, once a month, which to me was, like, necessary to make the high-level stuff possible, but I just think it put into people's minds that I was just making a bunch of bullshit. You know, that, like, a big video would eventually come out, but then it would be followed by a bunch of small stuff, and people would just seem to have it in their heads that, like, oh, now Digi's just doing small shit. And it's like, no, I'm just working on the next big thing. I just got to put out all this other small shit. But, like, so I do think that the human content machine idea, the I have content all the time idea was, like, important to the identity I'd built. So to jeopardize that, and especially in an era where, you know, the things I'm talking about and the presentation of the ideas have changed a bit. So it's just, like, a lot of factors. There's a lot of different reasons, but at the core of it all is, like, you know, I knew it would go down if I was going to try to, like, make the decisions I was making, you know? Like, I knew if I have to go plan a gigantic series that's going to take months to make, the Patreon's going to go down. But once I release that series, the Patreon's gonna go up. And, you know...
On the same subject with a similar question, who's the one slacking off more? You doing vlogs and Gecko Estate videos and debates with everyone, whilst I'm waiting for the audio of how they marketed episode 1, or me for actually being glad that I don't get to work on that video so that I can instead work on this video game I've been making, and not at all bringing it up to you, hoping that you take so long to come and send me the audio that I actually can finish the game before then, and also die of starvation.
It sounds like we're both working our asses off, is what you're telling me. Just not on the thing that it seems obvious to be working on. Well, here's the thing. My Patreon's going up considerably right now because of the Gecko Estate. I've gained like $200 in the last few days.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's at 3,220 something.
Shit, you're right. I've been checking that like every day for years, and I guess I just didn't notice that.
Yeah, well, it's because of the fact that I mean, if you watch Gecko Estate episode 3, I literally explained this in the episode, that the reason I started making the series was because I'm broke. Because, like, I spent so much money on the house, and, like, moving in. I'm getting my fucking ass kicked. Are you here, May?
I'm in here, yeah.
You're in the same place as me? I don't see you at all.
I don't know where you are.
We're not in a party together anymore, because my name is not Blue. So, I don't know what the hell happened. But you're in the same cavern as
No, I'm not anymore. I just looked and saw where you were.
Oh. Yeah, I'm just in some cave
Yeah,
getting my fucking balls rocked, and I'm clearly not supposed to be here yet, because I am getting destroyed. I need to find the teleportal. Anyway, I totally fucking lost track of the fact that I was still talking to Naboo.
Gecko Estate get you out of bankruptcy.
Yeah, like, it was just an attempt to like, have something that is, you know, that can be done frequently, but is of high quality, and has points to make, because over the course of this time that I've been, you know, busy preparing this series, I've had time to come up with lots more other things to talk about that I haven't been talking about, because I was trying to not do vlogs, because, like, in my last house, vlogs were boring. The house was boring, it was boring to film in. Now I've got a cool place to do stuff in, and, like, you know, it just seemed like the right thing to do to, like, establish where my mind was going forward after this move before I disappear again to go work on this video, you know, or before how they market it takes. Because once I do get it to you, it's going to take a while for you to edit it. So, like, there had to be something before then, you know, is kind of the way I looked at it. And as soon as I finish the How They Marketed editing, I also want to work on my Denzel Curry documentary, which is also a huge project that'll take just as long I don't know why I'm talking about this. This is boring. Bring in somebody else.
Alright, see ya.
Bye.
I need some people who can actually argue with me.
Yeah, the first person is Lee Nad.
Lee Nad?
Yeah.
Well. Hello?
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 Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're in. What do you want to argue
great.
about?
I would like to argue with you about the shift that you made about your image.
Okay. Which shift?
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of them.
That yes, your YouTube channel stopped being DIGIBRO and now is Otaku Gozo Journalist.
Okay.
And
yes.
I think I very much disagree the movements that you made. That not necessarily the change because they are necessary, but in the speed of them.
Okay.
That you should take a break, kinda, a slow pace.
So what exactly do you think I should do?
Well, I think that you should let all the changes that you have made in the past few months, you should have left to make them between the entire year of 2018.
How would I have done that?
Yes, that's a good question.
Because, I mean, the changes I made were all just based around lifestyle changes that happen in my day-to-day life. Like, the reason that the Gecko Estate is now a thing instead of the Meta Hole is I don't live in that house. So, you know, like, certain things just kind of, they just have to happen based on circumstances, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yes, no, you can say, sorry.
Oh, no, you go ahead. Continue. What's your next one?
I would make the comparison that PewDiePie constantly changes his image, kinda. He changes his speaks, the way he makes videos, and he kinda doesn't have a big impact in his views or in his patrons. But you, when you made this change, that were impacting on you.
I think that people often mischaracterize what it is that causes the effects on me. Because, first of all, changing the name to Otaku Gonzo Journalism, I didn't lose any subscribers. I had my biggest video of the year immediately after changing my name. So it definitely did not hurt my ability to get views. You know, I did the We Have Accepted Mediocrity video, which I believe was after I changed it. You know what, actually, now I'm questioning that. Well, yeah.
And it was great.
Yeah, and people loved it, and I wanted to launch. The reason I changed the name was because I knew that video was coming out, and that video would mark this sort of like changing of an era, like in the way that I was presenting myself. So like that way people would have this like big signpost of like, hey, Digi's not doing the same kind of shit. He's putting more effort into his videos, and like he's branding them differently, and like there's something going on here, because I wanted people to be hype about what's coming. However, what's coming has taken forever, and the reason it's taken forever is a combination of the plans being big, me and Devu getting delayed, me moving and not being able to work on things in that period. So like, yes, I do think I think that like when you look at the changes to the Patreon, it's easy to just say, well, this is because he changed his content, but people haven't even really seen how I've changed my content yet, because I changed my iconography and I put out those first couple videos, but like the plans, the ideas, they go a lot longer and a lot deeper than that. So to me, it's like we're at the very beginning, but because of the fact that, you know, it's taken a few months to see what is beyond the beginning, you know, people haven't had a chance to get excited yet. But that's why as soon as I moved in here, I tried to make as many videos as possible in the style I'm going for, as well as this live stream that is, you know, a long-standing idea. Anyway, again, I don't know how we keep just. I feel like too much of this is me talking about myself
because he's having a bitch fit.
Who's having a bitch fit?
He
All
wants
right,
to be
get
on.
him
He
in
has
here.
6 things lined up. Yo.
What up?
Hey.
What is going
So, now a returning guest that actually has material
Yeah.
to talk about. You know,
So
because I have so many topics lined
You
up.
were like the champion of the last stream, right?
Thank you very much, man.
You not only did you change my mind on something, but you were the only person with like a fully articulated argument. So I look forward to what you might have today.
All right. A huge part of that is because I've been having this same argument with people since like 2006.
Uh-huh.
All right. Now, it's funny you should mention that I did really well in the last argument, because as soon as I got like back to my friends and stuff and they all watched the stream, everybody tore me to pieces over the fact that I didn't go for the kill shot at the 90% mark.
Really?
Because there's more in that. But I don't want to come off like a one trick, so I'm gonna completely ignore that I left that half finished and
thank
choose
God.
something else.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So,
I could hear the audience literally starting to like dilate their eyes back and like just not.
Yeah. This whole all the same arguments keep coming up over and over thing is a meme that needs to die. So
I agree.
Relatable characters.
Yes.
You have previously criticized things for like your version that I mention to people all the time is people are like, how can I relate to this 15-year-old girl? That's so hard to relate to. I'd much rather watch Dragon Ball Z, where it's super alien gods punching each other. That's much more relatable.
Yeah, I feel ya.
Yeah.
So
that's your position, and I have the complete opposite position. Or rather, a reframing. I'm gonna say that the idea of relatable characters is bullshit.
Okay.
All right.
I'm not sure if I have a particular stance on relatable characters. Like what you said with the Dragon Ball and that, like I agree with that, but I also think that like it's possible to relate more to Goku than to a 15-year-old girl if like she's badly written and doesn't like make decisions that follow like from her character setting, you know.
I'm gonna say that it's kind of like Tommy Oliver's old thing about how Mary Sue's
Did you call him Tomo?
Yeah.
I've never heard this. Are there others who say this, or is this your creation?
Only my friends, but all of my friends. Hey Vamp, we call him Tomo, right? Like all the time.
Tomo.
When he comes over, I'm gonna call him that.
Tomo arigato.
Yeah. Oh, and you suddenly reminded me. There were people bitching at me for having a high-pitched voice, so I think I'm gonna finish the rest of this argument using my singing voice.
Okay. All right.
All right. So, relatable characters. The entire idea of a character being relatable is in the way that they are written, and not at all in the actual traits of that character.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Well, if you agree, then I've got. Do you want another one, or do you want to?
Yeah, just do another one, because I totally agree with that. I don't know how I gave you the impression I didn't think that. I don't know where I might have said something that would have.
It was like a one-off line in an old video of yours.
Oh well, c'est la vie.
Okay.
I don't remember them. I've made thousands. For you,
Now,
that was the day that I said the bad thing about characterization. For me, it was Tuesday.
Oh, somebody else who makes that reference. Yeah. All right, so biological identitarianism needs to die.
Okay.
Now, you have been against identitarianism, as in like I want to like hitching yourself to a movement.
Yeah.
In the past, right? But how do you feel about people who justify the things that they do with some kind of biological basis? Like, it's natural to be attracted to this kind of thing because that's what our biology tells us to do.
Well, it depends. Are they right? Like, because there are some things that's true about, you know.
So, like anything that your biology tells you to do as a justification for doing that, where that is their only reason.
How do they know their biology is telling them to do something?
Yeah, well, I mean, I mean, if you are hungry and you're like, yeah, I'm only eating because my biology is telling me to, I'd be like, yeah, that's pretty much accurate.
Yes.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, in that case, I agree with the. Well, I don't think this is essential to your argument. What is your argument about?
Do you think that is a bad thing? People should not think that way.
I mean, I would say that it's okay. It depends on the thing. Like, I understand why it could be harmful to think that way if you constantly excuse your actions based on the fact that you have a biological need, especially if you don't know what your biology actually is. But, like, I mean, you do biologically need some things, you know, so...
Yeah, you do biologically need some things, but the fact that you find something in nature is not a reason to think that way. Like,
can you give me an example of, like, someone doing this?
Okay, so animals all the time, they rape people all the time.
Yeah, well, they don't rape people, they rape other animals, but...
They definitely rape people, just in smaller amounts than they rape other animals.
All right.
People rape animals, too.
Yeah, that
probably
also
larger
happens.
amounts than animals rape people, to be fair, to be frank.
Yeah. And use that as a justification for like just their constant desire. Like this is a need of mine, and animals do it, therefore it's okay.
Are you saying that, okay, if someone thinks that because animals rape, it is okay for them to rape, then what they have misunderstood is society. Like, they have misunderstood the mere concept of a society, which is that we don't just do whatever we want to do because it might hurt somebody and, like, we need other people to live, you know? Like... I think that there's like a fucking some kind of Evangelion emergency happening in this game. It's fucking.
It's just a raid.
It looks awesome. Anyways, you know, if everyone just did whatever they wanted, people would be killing each other all the fucking time because like your instincts tell you to do that, and you're taught not to, you know, because you know. Just getting whatever you want is not, like, in the short term, is not necessarily beneficial to you long term. You should probably fit into society because it's kind of hard to live in the world without it. We just watched Grave of the Fireflies, and it's all about that. It's all about how if you don't have a place in society, you're just kind of fucked. Where are you at, by the way? You're in the forest?
I'm harvesting tomatoes.
Oh. Alright, well, I'm gonna go join you, if I can. I don't know if I can. I think we can meet on the bridge. Anyways, so yeah, I guess that's my...
I need to call out Steel Viper 77 in the chat right there, the Steel VIP.
Yeah.
The reason that it's biological identitarianism, and that's the way that I introduced it, is because they're not referring to, like, some subset of humans. They're referring to biological urges at all as their justification for doing something.
Yeah, I mean...
Just calling out that guy in the chat.
I think anybody... Like, this is not limited to this thing. Like, anything you say that justifies what is clearly bad behavior is just you being a dick, you know? Like, in any situation, whether it's this or something else. Like, if you're like, oh, I have to do this thing that is bad and frowned upon or illegal, kind of like I would put that in the same category as the sovereign citizens. Are you aware of them?
I've not.
Okay, so sovereign citizens are these people who basically believe that if they do not have an ID, they cannot be arrested because they are not... They basically believe that you have to choose to participate in the U.S. like law system and government, and that if you have chosen to be non-participant, you can do whatever the fuck you want. And
that is fucking psychotically stupid.
It is, but these people, there's like a lot of them, and they legitimately believe it. And if you watch like a live PD for a day, you'll see a bunch of them.
What is
live PD?
I'm not even following their line of logic because like half of the American system is about forcing people to do what the government tells them to do.
They believe that the law is a contract, and if they don't do their end, then they shouldn't be responsible for like doing the laws and being an active citizen and shit. So they just don't get IDs.
This transitions nicely into one of my other topics.
And it's really funny because they get arrested constantly because of this theory. But you know, most of them are not all there from what it seems. So All right,
the
well,
way,
what's
since
your
May
next
just-
one?
since-
We're giving
since-
you like a lot of freebies because you're the first person who's at least
who actually had
attempted.
material.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, not that any of it has eventuated in an argument yet. So let's hear the.
A lot of
next
those are shots in the dark, things that you could have an opinion about and have vaguely implied an ambiguity that we disagree.
Okay.
And so I was just chasing those.
All right.
I'm a fan of yours primarily because a lot of the stuff that you have to say changes my mind.
Uh huh.
So
Well,
I'm expecting us to agree about some things here, but
Yeah.
that's why I've got a long list.
I gotta
since
find
May
a way to
just broke
put
in
this
a little bit
like.
ago-
I gotta find a way to put the message out to more of my enemies than my fans to get on this.
Yeah.
show. I need to find a way to get people who just hate me and want to fucking argue. But
Since
anyway,
May just broke in a little bit earlier, I want to get out there. May, you're a genius. Please publish more videos. You don't publish enough stuff.
I'm working on a video right now.
Excellent.
I'm working on a big podcast too, so stay tuned.
yeah,
Awesome.
And we're
So-
also working on some Corrupting Your Kids stuff. In fact, a new Corrupting Your Kids has probably accidentally come out at the very beginning of this stream because I forgot to reschedule it. So there you go. Randomly Watch Seasonal Bullshit with Us is currently out, I think. Probably. I guess the stream.
Now, our
is still
previous
on.
conversation transfers nicely into one of my other topics, which is the law as a source of morality,
Okay.
which is something that I hear a lot. And I heard from you earlier in this stream.
Yes.
There are things that you exclude from your mind because they are illegal.
Yeah.
The pedophile thing is dead. Let's pick
Yeah.
a different thing. What's another thing that you don't
Okay.
want to do because it's illegal?
Honestly, up until a certain point in my life, anything. Like, I was extremely, like, I just didn't do anything that I knew was illegal growing up because I just was obsessed with being, like, a good kid and not being a bad kid.
Were you afraid to speed?
I definitely didn't speed when I first got my, like, license. I mean, I was fucking terrified to drive until, like, I would say the first time I ever sped was probably the first time I was comfortable enough driving to even consider it. And I remember it because I was probably going to Target or just I was out late at like 2 a.m. on Independence Boulevard in Virginia Beach in the stretch where there's not any fucking stoplights. And I was at the epic part of fucking Lazy Eye, the big 2-minute fucking... And I was doing like 85 on the 60 and I was like, yeah. But that was the first time. Anyway, there's an example for you.
All right, so it sounds like it's just a pragmatic thing about your safety. So, is being bored ever good?
No, being bored is never good.
All right, now we have something we actually disagree about.
Okay,
Awesome.
sick.
Yeah,
What do you think is so good about being bored?
because your conscious mind is not the only part of your mind, and when you're bored, your brain in the background is doing other shit.
Okay. That's
So
an interesting... I will say that I am someone who, I very much feel like different levels of processes going on, you know? You know what I mean, right? I don't know if everybody feels that or if that's normal to like to have like a main train of thought and then like a sub train of thought going at the same time.
yeah,
And like
yeah, I did that.
and I do feel that sometimes if like the number of things that I am trying to do at the same time is too many, then sometimes being
Like you run
bored
out of
for a little
RAM.
bit is like I feel like actually May, you can attest to this. Tell me if based on what you just said, because I'm just assuming you know more than me since you said a thing that sounded smart related. And May can confirm that I tend to just like stop a lot. Like whatever I'm doing, I don't do consistently. I never like constantly active. I just stop in the middle of what I'm doing and just sit there for a while a lot.
Yeah.
And I tend to forget like what's going on or why I am where I am. And I assume that's what's going on in those moments, is that I'm just processing all the like insane amount of shit that I'm constantly trying to fucking deal with. So yeah, I don't know. Does that sound right to you?
The reason that I'm arguing in favor of boredom is particularly in like a controlled way, like little spaces of boredom in your life, is because when all that it is your conscious mind is going through like I'm not occupied by anything in the front, and it's a negative reaction to that while you are clearing out all the stuff that's in the back. That's why people have shower thoughts.
All right, that makes sense. Well, in that case, I guess being bored, I will not be so, I'll not be so angry about in the future.
The chat is getting a little angsty, so I'm gonna get someone new in here.
All right, let's get somebody new in here. I like that last argument though, because I am one of those people who always feels like if I'm bored, then like that means that nothing's happening, and that means that this is a bad.
Yo, I just put in hentai wizard.
Hello?
Yo.
Hello, hentai wizard. What's going on?
Holy shit! I did not think I was gonna make it in. You can call me Hank, by the way.
Hank, what's happening?
It's just pretty good. Digi, I have an argument here about this new segment. This DigiBro versus everybody. You know.
All right.
I think we're looking at the wrong direction here, because, you know, when I first heard that you're gonna do this, you know, I was kind of like iffy about the new video, like at the ending of it, and I was like, oh man, I'm totally gonna fucking like slam him on this, you know, I'm gonna ask him all this shit about it, and then, you know, people already did it for me, and now I already like understand everything about it, right? Like I understand it was like all this like artistic, you know, merit and stuff. So now I have no arguments, and I just want to talk to you, and but every time, but the thing is, I can't talk to you because like I see people like coming in, they're like, why didn't you finish fucking March Comes In Like a Lion? And like they ask one question and get boot, you know? So my problem, my it's not even an argument. I can't even fucking come up with one at this point. So I think my thing here is I think you need to have another segment that's like talk with DigiBro, right? And it's just like, you know, you kick all the fucking people that argue about lollies, because Jesus fucking Christ, if I hear one more goddamn person come in here and it's like, oh, lollies aren't okay, I'm gonna fucking shoot myself. Because it's the most obnoxious shit in the fucking world. I swear to God, Digi.
I'm sorry I've made everybody sit through that. I forgot that my audience would probably just be seething with rage.
Yeah, I feel like I have a fucking vein coming out of my forehead right now. Because like it's like every like, oh my God, every fucking person that comes on like that talks about lollies, they just fucking talk in a circle, and I just like, you know, I just don't fucking care about these people, you know? So it's just like, and I get like your whole point for this is like you're trying to like make them go fuck off and like maybe understand a little better. But they're so fucking unchanging. I don't fucking understand these people. Like it's no matter what you say, it's always like, yeah, but like, what if like they go fuck a girl, like a little girl? It's like, no, like it's not gonna fucking happen. I'm so fucking like tired of this shit, man. I just want to have a chat. Like I had so many fucking questions that I tried to form into arguments and I couldn't, because I was like, well, I'm just gonna get kicked because that just sounds fucking boring. So now, this is my predicament, Digi.
So all right, okay, I feel you. I get your. All right. I'm torn on this idea because, like, I have my Discord and everything, my Patreon Discord. I'm in there, you know, occasionally. It's easy enough to reach me if you want to ask me a simple question. The problem is that, like, I used to do a lot of Q&As on YouTube because of the fact that, like, I love just talking about myself. I love answering questions. Like, when I was a kid, I used to fantasize about being interviewed and, like, what answers I'd give to all the questions and shit. So, like...
I have the same deal, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I've always been prepared for this life, but then once you start living that life, what you quickly realize is that most of the people who are going to ask you questions do not do any research to see if that question's been answered before. So I would do all these Q&A streams, and I'd just get asked, like, I'd have people come in and be like, what's your opinion on Kill La Kill? And I'm like, I literally have, like, 6 videos about Kill La Kill. So when I got sick of that is why I created my Discord only monthly, like, Q&A live stream, because, which does not have anyone calling in, because back in my Brony days, I did have, like, a Google Hangout, like, thing. But the thing is that, and I don't want to, like, come down too hard on anyone in there. They were all patrons and stuff. But, like, when some of the people are severely awkward, and the other ones...
Oh, yeah.
like, it kind of makes it like, well, yeah, the other patrons wanted to talk to me, but as a result, they now have to also talk to these guys, you know?
Oh, so it's kind of like this double-edged sword kind of deal?
Exactly, and for me, framing it as that I'm just, like, fighting people, it's like, there doesn't have to be any of that, because for you to even call in, you have to be under the expectation that you might get insulted. Like, this is DigiBro versus everybody. This is like it's a roast in both ways. Like, you're supposed to come in hot, I'm gonna come in hot, and then, you know, bro it out afterwards.
And then that was almost kind of the problem too, because, like, you know, when I watched the Finish or Fail you guys put out, I watched the end of it, and I was, you know, the last 10 to 15 minutes, I was just like, man, this is fucking jank as shit. Like, I don't, you know, what's he doing? And I was gonna come in and argue about that. But you already argued it with someone else, and I'm so fucking glad you did. So I didn't come on here and look like a dumbass, you know.
I think everyone thinks that after they like hear the argument they wanted to make lose, they're like, oh shit, well.
No, exactly. And now I'm like, well, shit. Like, I don't know how long he's gonna be doing this. Like, I mean, will I ever get a chance to talk to him again? You know. Because, like, I actually was a patron. I totally forgot you that Discord thing. I just for some reason it never like let me join it.
Yeah. You gotta,
but yeah,
just gotta you just gotta connect your Patreon to your Discord, and that will make you go in.
Yeah, so I think I did that after the fact, and it wouldn't let me join it for a while. The first time around, I'm thinking about repatroning again, because I only had to stop because I was kind of in a bad money space, but
that's the main reason people. That's the other thing too. You didn't even ask about this, but that other guy who was asking me about my my channel like losing money because of the changes I had made.
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
Like, I didn't know this until like recently, but when people unpledge, it gives them a prompt to like say why they unpledged, and I can go read those prompts, and like the vast majority of them are, I don't have money right now. You know, like, it's usually like, oh, I don't have enough to continue pledging at this moment. Like, I just started to do something, and now I can't. So, yeah, exactly. Like, a lot of the times you will lose a lot of pledges just because by random chance, or maybe, hey, summer began, and a bunch of people have to go, I don't know, they lost their, I don't know. Alright, bring this guy out. We already agreed too much.
Alright, thank you for having me on.
No problem.
You're great, Digi. Watch New Game Season 2.
We were like how many episodes in? 2 episodes?
Yeah,
in? So
something.
Oh shit, seriously?
Yeah, but like as of like 6 months ago. So.
Oh, well, because I remember a while back you had that Finish or Fail thing.
Yeah.
And like you're like, oh yeah, my fiance hasn't like watched it yet, so we're gonna watch the first show. And I was like,
yeah, we watched the whole first season. And we enjoyed it, and then we started season 2, but this was like right around the time when we'd first moved in and we're smoking all the time, and we're mostly watching like masterpiece movies. So like going back to New Game after like watching like My Neighbor Totoro or something was just like, we'll have to put this on hold for a while.
Yeah, I totally get that, because it's like my favorite above average show. So like I could totally understand why you need to like kind of get that balance.
All right, you're gone.
Anyways, thanks for having me on.
Peace out.
Alright, this guy's been in the chat begging, so we're gonna get T-Bond Steaks.
T-Bond Steaks?
Yo.
Hey, what's up?
What is up? What's going on? How do you say your name?
T-Bone Steaks. What's up, bro?
T-Bone Steaks. I am good. What do you want to fucking argue with me about?
Alright, man. Well, I'm not here to suck your dick or anything, so I'm just going to get into my argument. And I like to first state that I'm not just some random shit cooker off the street. I've been following your content since your release of your Anime Sucks, and I used to like consume all of your content on the Main and After Dark channels.
Cool. Alright, so what's the beef?
That being said, I'm here to argue two things, man. And they go pretty much hand in hand, so it ain't going to be like a long-winded explanation. One being is that your ego is poisoning your growth, and the second is that your lack of ability to take proper accountability for your actions and decisions.
Alright, well, that is some big claims. First of all, yeah, I agree that I
would say, yeah, that's definitely pretty big claims, but I'm sorry, man. Let me let you talk, dude.
Alright, well,
what you gonna say?
I would say that addressing the problem of my ego has been a big part of what I've been trying to do in recent times. And granted, the way that, like, what that means for me might be different from what most people think, but, like, I've spent a lot of the last 6 months or so, just like watching stuff that's better than what I do and being like, I need to be as good as this. So,
right.
I don't know if
Like,
that is
all
the
right.
same thing that you're talking about.
All right, all right. So let me get into it a little bit. In last night, Echo's Gecko Estate, you said that you were just like an archetype, and you know what, man, I kind of agree. But as someone who knows like a decent amount about archetypes, I could safely say that like in none of the classic literature I've read or listened to, like not even in recent history, has there been a meme guy who lives in a meme mansion. I mean, I wouldn't even say you're the full archetype, because the fool can like really actually learn from the mistakes and grow from that archetype. I'd probably place you as like the tyrant, because you allow your ego to do all of the thinking while explaining to the super ego of the community that you weren't wrong, everyone else is wrong.
All
right,
I don't
and if
think
you
I
let me-
really
if you let me
present
go-
my. I don't really think I have the opinion that everyone else is wrong. I just think that, like, I mean.
Well, I mean, I got some examples.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so like your current tax situation, if you don't mind, it's not
Yes.
a problem because you might have mismanaged your taxes, and I know it's a difference in like regular like Joe Schmo taxes because you own your own business technically.
Yeah.
It's because of some weird series of events. Your Patreon didn't dive bomb over $1,000 last year because you turned off comments and pissed off a lot of paying fans. It was because they just didn't understand free speech. Finish or fail
I don't.
wasn't a breakout
Hold on.
success
Wait.
because-
Wait. What do you mean? What is
Yeah,
this?
okay.
Okay, free speech has nothing to do
Remember
with
when you
comments at
all right, if we're gonna hash this out, remember before like the PCP, how everyone was giving you shit about, oh, you know, the comments should be turned off, and you know, like you don't have to give people a platform to just come on and shit all over your shit. And you know what, that's not even like that opinion is wrong. I mean, you're entitled to have your opinion, and you're right, freedom of speech doesn't just mean like, hey, I can say whatever the fuck I want. It basically means that you just have the ability to say what's on your mind. But when you close off the comments section, and I noticed it, is your Patreon dipped a lot, and after that you turned them back
I
on.
don't remember this happening. I don't remember any moment where I closed comments and my Patreon just like took a fucking hard-nosed dive. Like that never happened.
Okay, well, besides that, then how about we talk about, you know, finish or fail not being a breakout success? Because you say, you know, it's not because it's like you didn't just make something that didn't bring in a significant amount of patrons. I mean, yeah, I'll give you the Gecko Estate finish or fail brought in, like, you know, it's at like 25 and some change dollars or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like you got 200 extra bucks. But I mean, it doesn't seem like you're accepting that maybe you just didn't make something significantly good. It was because of YouTube algorithms and the fans not
I don't think you understand.
It just
we saw the
seems.
trend
It just seems
that when the video first came
It
out,
just seems that you don't want to accept that in your you're in the situation you're in because of your actions and decisions, unless
Okay.
they do something good for
I
you.
have not meant to imply at any point that the only reason the video didn't succeed was that it was like fucked by the algorithm or whatever. I even call myself out for saying that in the video. Like I make a joke about it. I say like, oh, I just did the YouTuber thing where I blamed the algorithm, but like in this particular case, my channel is literally struggling because it is quite dead. And like
I agree.
And it's just a matter of like, you know, people. It's not just like the algorithm. It's people aren't talking about me because I'm not.
the video got taken down off r/anime like within a few couple hours, and once that happened, it wasn't bringing in the new traffic that it needed, and then
Yeah.
you know it wasn't trending anymore.
I mean, these things happen,
The only
but
problem
like,
is
it's
yeah, okay.
You know, I don't like. For the most part, most of my videos bomb. Like the overwhelming majority of my videos are not successful. The overwhelming majority of my videos have like 2,000 to 10,000 views. No one really cares. It doesn't matter how much passion I put into it. The only thing that matters is how it's marketed. And that's generally how YouTube works. It's not really a platform for like you can't expect to like, oh, I'm going to make the best thing and I'm going to get the most views. That is just not how YouTube functions at all. So when people tell me like, oh, the new content isn't like it didn't succeed because it wasn't that good. The quality of the content has nothing to do with how many people watch it. That has never been the case on YouTube for anybody.
Definitely.
And it's never been the case for me with my videos.
Okay,
I
but
think a lot of my highest quality videos have
listen.
no views. So my point with saying that is simply that
alright.
like yeah, I think that the video was not as big of a success as I really hoped it would be. That's not a big deal for me because it just means, well, okay, this one didn't work, but the next one has to, and like it's always been that way. You know, I've always had videos bombing that I hoped or thought would be a success. Like, sometimes
right, but
it's
here's
because
the thing, man. You would say that you get a consistent viewership, right? Like if your videos bomb and they don't become like a major success, you know, they're not breaking the six number digits here or whatever. You're getting at least 60,000 consistently. We could agree on that, right? At least a minimum
on
of
the
60K,
main
right?
channel,
On the main
sure.
channel, but that's
Yeah,
it.
on the main channel. That's where the majority. Well, I wouldn't say the majority of content comes from, but that's where like your limelight had shone, man. You were like in the limelight back when you were doing your SAO shit. That's like when it all took off. The steam train was going full fucking speed.
Not really.
The thing is,
I wasn't really
like,
that successful for the SAO videos. I would say it was
but you were continuing to ramp up your content and production, and then you were gaining a lot of money. I remember your Patreon being 2,000, and then before you went on your road trip, you were pretty much at your 5,000 mark, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason that the Patreon went up to 5,000 is because I changed it to monthly instead of per video. So like, everyone changed their pledge.
But there was also a
massively.
grand fucking. There was like over $1,000 that came in just from new patrons.
Yeah, because
my point being is like you take the number of
and that's
patrons.
how fast we lose them.
You take the number of patrons you got. You take the consistent viewer base you got, 60,000. You're staying where you are. No one is really adding a lot. Like no one's patroning. Like in like droves, you get a couple here, you get a couple there. That's fine.
Right.
The problem is that you're not making content that these consistent people are coming back to and saying, you know what? Finally, I'm gonna go ahead and put down $5 or $1 because fuck, $1 is better than just watching ads. I mean, I'm sure you would rather have like 500 people give you $1 than two guys that gave you $10, right?
Yeah.
So it just seems like you're not making quality content that's letting your consistent viewer base say, you know what, hey, I'm on board now. I'm going to give him like just $1 even. That's what I'm trying to get at.
What do you think is the issue with it? Like, what do you think would be? Because when you say something like that, I have to wonder, like, when people tell me like you're just approaching your content wrong, I'm like, all I'm trying to do is make it as successful as humanly fucking possible. Like, all I'm doing is looking at what do people like from me, what do I like doing, what will make this work, like what's gonna be a good video and one that people will watch, and that's what I make.
I gotta say,
so if I fail at
look,
that, it's because I just don't I'm not good enough. Like, I don't know what to do, I guess. I'm not a genius at selling myself or making content that will succeed, because I tend to hamstring myself because of the fact that I'd rather make something I want. And, like, sure, I think that if my goal was grow my audience, I would just give them what they want. That is not what would be the same thing as doing good content. But, like, whatever I interpret as good content might not be what others do, and there's always going to be a disconnect there. But, like, I just have to find enough people who do think it's good content, or find content enough people will think is good enough. So, like, if you tell me...
So what is your hope? Is your hope to, like, not grow your audience, or is your hope to, like, take the audience you have and that you want them to give you more support? What would you say is your goal?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, obviously, I think that most of the fans who I have who want to contribute already are. Like, or at least they were. When I made the switch over to monthly, I would say that anybody who was going to be a patron at that time was one. But at the same time, like, the infrastructure of the way I was doing things was different from how it is now. And, like, I think that a lot of the, like, the burnout from patrons and stuff had to do with just the fact that, like, as I explained in that big-ass video where I was fucking talking about all this, the DIGIBRO 8.88, that, like, the dynamic of the content changed, but the dynamic of the Patreon didn't. And it made it so, like, these rewards were no longer enticing for these costs, because it's no longer like, oh, I watch 3 hours of DIGIBRO every day, and on top of that, here's this bonus podcast. It's like, I've been waiting for a month. I've heard nothing about this new project other than him hyping it up. And there's like these high disorganized Bloodborne videos, and that's all that seem to be doing, because nothing's out. And, like, I know what this is like from the outside too, because, like, I've been a fan of things, and I've been in fandoms, and I've seen the way that when people have to wait for something new, they get pissed. Like, right now, I'm sure there's people who are huge Homestuck fans going like, what the fuck is Andrew Hussey doing? He's not doing shit. He hasn't made anything in years. And then all of a sudden, I guarantee you one day he's going to launch something that people are going to go, oh man, he must have spent those last 2 years doing this. Because like, when you're someone who's creative like that, you don't do it because, you know, you need money. You do it because you constantly want to be making things, because it's the only thing that makes you not bored with your life. And that's how I feel. And like, you know, when I understand why when I disappear for a while, people are just like, Digi's fucking, I don't know what he's doing, jacking off somewhere. You know?
Let me just throw this one little bit out, because I feel like I might be going on too long, and I can see the chat's getting a little antsy here. Let me throw this out, because, you know, you just basically said with Homestuck, like, you know, where the fuck the dude's been 2 years, okay? So yeah, it's been 2 years. Say tomorrow, okay, he throws something out there. What's gonna make his fans turn on him or like revere him is the fact is how good is that content out of that 2 year gap. Like Metal Gear Solid 5 was like, I forget, I don't know how fucking long. I'm a fan, but whatever, like 10 years, 8 years, whatever.
Yeah.
It took so long. Everyone's thinking, yo, Kojima's making the game, man. It's gonna be the shit. Everyone's gonna fucking love it. All these years perfecting his craft. And it comes out, and well, frankly, it's all personal opinion, but I thought the game was shit.
A lot of people do.
It kind of put a damper on things.
Yeah.
So what I would say is making a masterpiece is great and all, but any shithead with all the time on their hands can make a masterpiece. It's about making a masterpiece in a timely fashion. Wouldn't you agree?
I think I agree. I don't think I've spent that fucking long working on my shit, and I have.
No. I'm not saying you specifically. I'm not saying you specifically. But with that point in mind, would you say that you're doing everything in your power to, like, you know, make this masterpiece, but at the same time, you know, you're chugging along and trying to get this content out there for us?
That's why we're doing this live stream right now, my buddy, because...
All right, boy, that's it. All right, man. Well, anyway, I'm going to get the fuck off here. I'm sure everyone's tired of hearing my bitch ass.
All right. Bring in the next one.
All right, dude. Hey, keep up the good work, man. I want to fucking see you succeed, bro.
Thanks. I'm fucking stun locked and dying. Oh, I'm fucking dead. I've fucking died so many goddamn times.
Oh boy, I gotta close my game.
Hello? Who's there?
Sorry, I have to close my game. It like won't let me switch screens anymore.
Yeah, I'll take care of it then.
No, it's okay. I got it. Unless you want to.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna put Chris Pride in.
All right.
Hello.
Hello?
It's Chris Pride.
Chris, you there? I do not hear anybody. Chris, you might be muted. You might not have a microphone. You might be dead. You might be...
Alright, well, get somebody else.
You might be incapacitated.
Let's do Law.
Alright, so where the hell are you at in the game?
I had to get out of the game because it crashed.
Oh, okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on?
Wait, what was your name? I fucking missed it.
I'm Law.
Law, like
you might know me as Elijah. You might have...
Okay, yeah, I know who you are. What's going on?
Okay. No, I was just let's argue. I really let's see. Oh, are you planning to bring back the character design videos and for on the DIGIBRO or on your otaku journalism?
Is
channel?
That question what you want to argue about, or is that relevant?
Yes, absolutely. It's relevant to the argument because the first one you did, you didn't mention the actual character designers. You talked about how the character designs were cool and stuff like that. We had a little argument about this on Twitter, and I thought it would support your argument more if you just mentioned the character designers and you could like look at their previous work. You know, and that would support, you know, why the character designs work for that particular show that they had worked on.
Okay. I did that in the next one I did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. So I'm sorry. It's just like I just wanted to. I didn't say that in the tweet, and I was just like, and also as far as like talking to your enemies and stuff like that, have you unblocked the people like on your Twitter and like and stuff like that? The people that actually like have gotten you razzed and stuff.
I mean, on the last episode we had Mr. Meatman and What the What, and those are like probably the two people who have like dedicated. Two of the like 5 or so people who have dedicated the most time to, you know, I guess attempting to troll me, or whatever they consider themselves to be doing.
I'm not. Well, not specifically trolls. I mean, there might have been like somebody who's like, I don't want to deal with talking to this person, blocked or whatever. So I think
I don't really block
trying
that many people. Although I guess it would be safe to, like,
actually, funny thing, I logged in on the Twitch, and I'm actually blocked on your Twitch on my main account. I had to like go in on a different one. I had no idea why though.
That's very bizarre. I mean, were you watching me back in the Pony days when I used to do live streams?
No, not on Pony days. I have no clue what happened. I was just like, why can't I say anything?
It's been an eternity since I've live streamed on this channel.
Yeah, so I was just like, okay, did I say something that like, okay, now you're blocked? And I'm just like, all right.
I have no idea.
So,
I've never been the mod of my own chat on Twitch either. So it's if you were blocked by somebody, it wasn't me.
Okay, cool. I was just saying, like, that might be the case. There might be like somebody waiting in the woodworks to like give you a piece of their mind, and they're just blocked and they can't say anything.
I mean, the thing is that there's an open Discord link, and I don't have my real Discord in there. I use the Arts of Fartsa one. So like, the way I saw it was like I wanted people to just send around this Discord link, and like, I figured that if I made something like this, people would be out there sending it to anyone who doesn't like me, like hoping to get them to come fight. But it's possible that people just don't want to bite because the circumstances are not really favorable for them. Like,
I'm just thinking like, oh, okay, well, it's kind of fixed if it's just a lot of people like just praising you first of all, and like they're not actually your enemies if you have them blocked. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, it's difficult to. Like, because I don't know until I click on somebody, unless it's a name I recognize, like, if they're, going to be a fan or a foe, or a fan posing as a foe, or, I mean, like, I think a lot of the calls that make the most sense on this show seem to be from people who, I don't know if they've listened to the Dick Show, but they've at least accidentally taken cues from it, in that they will, like, come in, like, they might be a fan, but they come in hot, regardless.
Yeah. Gotcha. I got another thing to argue with you about. You mentioned this before when you were talking to somebody else, but I think the last guy. But you're bad at selling yourself. This is one pet peeve of mine. You mentioned Patreon a lot, and like for me, if you like, I've definitely Patreon you, and I haven't yet. The only thing is that you're not selling yourself, and for me, when you're asking for money on Patreon, and you're asking for more than just like more than what you're getting. You definitely need to be like, it's like asking for a raise. So you need to present what you've done to like, hey, here are the improvements I'm making, and this is why I want more money or need more money.
Yeah.
Like you definitely haven't done that. So that's why that makes me like
have you seen episode 3 of the Gecko Estate yet?
No, I haven't.
That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
It's me. I made a lot of money on Patreon from it because it's me going, hey everybody, I'm broke now, so here's all my plans and here's what I need money.
Oh, okay. I mean, but like I think you could like put that shortly at the end of like whatever you're working on for. And not just one video pointing people towards it, you know what I mean? Like, it would be like, oh, hey, because every time like you mention like the Devu, I was like, oh, help me pay for a Devu and stuff like that. But what improvements technically have you been making for those to get more money? And that always bothers me as somebody who works for a living, blah, 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 in an office.
I feel you. I am awful at marketing, and that's kind of why I'm studying it now for the How They Marketed series, because like I'm really fascinated by the way that if you were to watch, say, like the Dick Show, he has tons and tons of catchphrases and an opening like spiel that he does without fail every time, lots of just random like stuff that gets people sort of into the meta narrative of him, but like he is really good at making sure he mentions all the things every time. The Patreon, why you should support it, what it has to offer. And like, for me, because of the fact that I like my scripts to be super tight, and I hate doing even the endings that I do on my videos, where I'm like, subscribe to my Patreon, thanks again for watching, I'll see you in the next one. Like, I feel like I have to, because it's the only way to make the video have like an ending that's kind of soft, so that people can.
Chat is begging for Chris Pride, so.
All right.
I guess you're getting replaced.
That was it. Shout out to my boy Econ.
Hey.
Know all the Atlanta boys, Jimmy, all those guys. That's me.
Hey.
Yeah.
Shout out to Econ and Jimmy. Econ's coming up to my house next weekend, I think. Because Ben's bringing Ben Saint up to Boston.
You're on.
Yo, what is up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I was on my laptop, so I don't know what happened before. My mic wasn't functioning, so I was like, what the hell is going on?
Well, you're good now.
How's it going, though?
I am doing fucking great. What do you want to argue about?
Alright, so there's at least 3 things, whether you agree on them or not. There's 3 things I want to discuss.
Okay.
One of them being, I know you made a video about it, and I know you just said it like about 20 minutes ago. If you made a video on it, to go back to the video to see whatever you said.
Uh-huh.
The thing is, I just finished watching the anime, and I don't want to watch the movie. Well, I haven't watched the movies yet, and I don't want to watch the video yet because if it spoils more of the stuff.
Okay, which anime are you talking about?
See, this one you're gonna like, Evangelion.
Uh-huh.
So the thing is, do you agree or not whether this anime is a full, like, I understand it is considered mecha, but do you believe it's a full-on mecha?
I would say
because
so,
a lot
yes.
of friends are, because a lot, okay, see, the thing is, a lot of friends are saying yes, and I know I looked up online, there's some people who have said the same things as what I'm saying, where I do agree, yes, it is a mecha, but I don't feel like it's a full-on mecha. The reason being is because, of course, you've seen the anime, and I know it's one of your favorites.
Uh-huh.
And the thing is, it's because the Evas weren't even full-on robots. They were just controlled by Nerve.
Okay, but
So it wasn't-
Mazinger Z is literally Zeus. If I remember correctly. Like, Mazinger Z, the OG piloted robot, like, is Zeus. I don't know, chat correct me on that. Like, can chat please confirm, if you know anything, is Mazinger Zeus? Because I think that is the case, at least in Shin Mazinger. But, like, you know, a lot of the times there's some kind of greater, like... I mean, like, the Nirvash in Eureka 7 is technically alive. It's not technically just a robot. Hero Man is, like, alive. Bmo? What the fuck is the goddamn big... Anyway, I think, I don't think that's a good argument for it not being a mecha show. What do you think?
Because, I don't know, because I feel like, because that's just the only thing. They're bioengineered.
Yeah.
That's why I don't consider the Evas
I mean,
mechas, because I have friends who say, oh, I don't want to watch Evangelion because I don't like mechas.
Alright,
And
well...
so since it's a mecha, they don't want to get into it.
Let me clarify something, and I think there's a difference in the way that, like, the word mecha is perceived in the West and East. And, like, in a lot of, like, anime
People
or just...
are saying Z Mazinger is Zeus in the chat.
Yeah, okay, I thought so. Like, in Japan, like, they will refer to things as mecha that aren't even necessarily giant robots. It's just, like, big mechanical things. And so I understand simultaneously, like, why Ava wouldn't be one, but at the same time, like, it is a big robot. Like, it's man-made, and
at
it's...
the same time, the armor is just the armor controlling the,
Yeah.
you know, the Eva itself, so it's not necessarily a full-on robot. At the same time, even though the human is inside it operating it,
I just feel like
the Eva
there's...
still has a mind of its own.
I feel as though there are enough mecha series where I could say something similar about them that I think to disclude Ava would call into question a lot of other mech shows. Like, I think it would call into question, again, Mazinger Z, who is literally Zeus, and, I mean, that's, like, the classic mech show, so you can't say that's not mecha.
Yeah.
And, like, even sometimes, like, androids are considered mecha, or, like, you know, cyborgs can be considered to have mecha parts, or, like, you can have a mecha arm on a person. Like, you know, if you play... I don't remember if this is true, but I believe in Evolution Worlds, people had, like, mechanical arms that they called mecha. I could be remembering that wrong. So I just think it's a more broad term that I think is allowed to apply to Ava, and since Ava, like, in terms of its presentation, it pays homage to, like, the entire history of mecha anime. So, like, it clearly is trying to be in that genre, whether it, you know, whether you want to say the robot's a robot or not.
And
And one more thing, because I already see like the chat saying next. I just want to state. I want to change the topic. So before anything else, so the next thing. Do you think when it comes to reboots with cartoons, do you okay when you automatically see a reboot? So say like Teen Titans Go. Do you automatically assume whether or not you're going to like it because it's
no?
Okay, basically
no. The answer to the question is no. I never automatically assume anything about a show before I watch it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because a lot of people hate something because it's a reboot. Like say Thundercats.
Yeah.
Oh, how it got rebooted, and now everybody's riling up.
For what it's worth, I think people are upset with that because it looks like shit. I mean, Thundercats got rebooted like 5 years ago, and nobody watched it.
But let's be honest, nobody. At least more than half of us, the ones that are complaining, has never seen Thundercats. I know a couple of the characters, but I haven't fully on seen it to completely hate the show, so I can't be,
I mean, the original Thundercats is terrible. Like, it's not a good show that's being ruined by having a remake. At least from my memory of childhood, it was fucking awful. So, if anything, I would think the remake, de facto, probably will be better. But,
yeah, because, for me, it's just, the reboots, it's for a new audience. That's what I'm saying, because it's,
yeah, definitely.
The ones who are usually upset are the ones are basically.
But that's okay. But the weird thing about it,
old generation, because they're just stuck in the past.
The weird thing about that argument, though, is that there's no reason to give new kids an old IP. Like, why not just make up their own new cat-based IP? And the only reason is because, a recognized IP has a greater chance of success, even though no one who recognizes the IP is going to be happy with this, this approach to it. So it just kind of feels like, I don't think anybody would have been upset if that had just been some new show that wasn't called that, but slapping the name of some old thing on it in the vain hope that brand recognition will make people care about it, is I think why people are offended.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, because it's just that's the point. It's when I see a reboot, I don't see, because I'm not the target audience, so I know I'm not going to be upset whether it's good or bad. Well, I mean, a show could be bad, but it's just it's not for me. I know it's not for me. That's what I'm just trying to say.
I feel
it's not supposed to be say Teen Titans Go is not going to be the original Teen Titans.
I definitely think it's ridiculous the way that people get online and get all uppity about some cartoon that they had no intention of ever watching. I'm not gonna get online and be like, oh, fuck this reboot of Thundercats, because what the, I don't give a fuck. Exactly. Nothing else on Cartoon Network is good. Why do I care now? So, not that nothing on Cartoon Network.
For Teen Titans Go, I don't know if you
I love Teen Titans Go, for what it's worth. I'm a big fan.
We both agree that Beast Boy totally made a hit song with the Chillin' and Catchin' Villains.
I don't think I've seen that episode, unfortunately.
Wait, you haven't seen that episode? It's pretty good. That was a very good, at least in my taste of music, it's pretty good.
Alright, well, you're getting kicked now. Now you're just gushing about fucking Teen Titans.
It was nice talking, though.
Bring in the next one. What should we be doing in the game right now?
Dude, I don't know. My game is having a lot of glitches right now, especially when I'm trying to change my screen, so...
I've gotten to a place where, it says to do the next story quest, I have to activate the level, the fourth part of the story, and I have to talk to somebody to do that, but I'm not sure where they are or who they are.
Pull up a guy.
Here, look, it says... Because I kept clicking on, storyboard wouldn't appear for me, and it was pissing me off. But it says storyboard EP4 can only be used in EP4 mode. You can switch to EP4 mode by talking to Ziera and selecting the episode to EP4. I think this is just broken English, but whoever Ziera is, I need to know where they are.
Alright, I'm gonna bring on Spork.
Alrighty. I'm guessing you got kicked out of the game again since you're...
Yes, that's what
Hello?
I said.
Hello, Spork, what's going on?
Hi. Okay, hey, we've talked a little bit on email. I've asked you to do some music and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I recognize the name.
Yeah, no, thank you.
The O, the is zero.
Yeah, all my O's are zero as always. Anyway, check out my Bandcamp. I have 3 questions of various importances. We have a light question about, or not question, argument, proposition, I guess. I have a light-hearted one about Best Girl in K-On! Or a medium one about Trial of the Golden Witch, or a
hit me with the
serious
Trial
one
of the
about
Golden
politics?
Witch one first, because nobody's asked
Okay.
me anything about that yet.
Trial of the Golden Witch. I'm sorry. I know this, as a musician, I know this is gonna be really tough because when people say shit like this to me, it hurts. Trial of the Golden Witch is shit. You have one good song.
What's the good
maybe
song?
Two. You have maybe two good songs.
What? Hold on. Depending on what you say is the good song is gonna radically change how I feel about this argument. So,
Okay.
what is the good song?
Dick Up Out My Bitch is a good song.
Oh, that's
right?
a great choice. Is that just because Frank Jeff C produced it and therefore it doesn't sound like
Frank Jeff C.
Dick?
That's part of it, but it's just funny to sing along to as well.
Yeah.
But the other one that isn't produced by Frank Jeff C is the first track on Midwinter Ballers or whatever that album's called.
Yes, Ghost of Midwinter Ballers trailer.
Yeah.
First track.
But it's not good. It's just like it has potential. It's almost good because the beat is dope, but it's not quite dope.
Okay. Am I just arguing with you to defend that my band doesn't suck? Is that what you want?
No. Here's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You need to hire or something a proper producer who will make your beats for you because, well, when Frank Jeff C made the beat for you, it sounded sick.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you don't like Blind Skywatcher's beats?
They're okay, but they're not mixed very well. I think the drums are way too low, and often your vocals are way too low. I know Death Grips do that, but that's Death Grips, and they can get away with that because they're fucking Death Grips. Oh yeah, and the biggest thing that not pissing me off, but that I have a problem with about your music is that I know you commented on this in a recent video, but your lyrics.
Yeah.
You said that they're deep if you've been in a relationship of that kind, right? But
I wouldn't
I've
say
been in
that
a
they're
relationship
necessarily
of that kind.
deep. Just that, like, there were people. I mean, once I broke down the actual commenter I was responding to in that video where I said that, I think I made who I was responding to a little bit more clear. That I also got kicked off the server, by the way. I need the password, but
Here you go.
When what the fuck was I saying? Yeah, I was responding to this guy who was literally commented something like, I'm 14 and I think I'll never be able to have sex and it pisses me off to see you with your girlfriend. And I was just like when someone like that is telling me, oh, your lyrics are not as deep as they used to be and I miss the old Digi, I'm just like, I don't think you even knew what was deep about the old lyrics or what is interesting about these ones, you know?
In my opinion, your old lyrics were also not very good. They were very cheesy and also kind of just sounded like Endless Jest's music a lot.
All right, well, okay. So I need more context in order for me to frame how I'm going to respond to this. So what do you like that is of a similar brood to what I make?
As in experimental hip hop stuff?
Yeah, or just hip hop in general, or what would you if you were to compare me to someone who you say, oh, this person's good and you're doing a bad version of what they do, who should
I'd say
be more
JPEG
like?
Mafia.
Okay.
I'd say JPEG Mafia
Since
because
you said that,
he does the internet rap thing.
Let me tell you, I agree with you 1000%. There is no argument to be had here because my music is awful. And JPEG Mafia's music is amazing. JPEG Mafia has been producing since he was 12, and I have been producing for a year. And I don't hold myself to the standard of being as good as JPEG Mafia. I'm impressed that anyone listens to my shit at all. But, it's difficult for me to argue the quality of my music because obviously it means something different to me as for me when I create songs it's less about creating something good and more about creating this idea that's in my head that doesn't already exist. For instance, the album I'm working on right now, The World Over, is just me rapping over the .hack OST.
Yeah, I've been listening to it on SoundCloud.
Yeah, and I love doing it because I really love I already am a huge fan of the .hack OST. I love hearing raps over just things that don't seem like they're meant to be rapped over, but somehow they can be. You know, like a very Bus Driver-esque, like early Bus Driver when he was just rapping over like fucking whatever the fuck he would find, you know. And like not even all of that stuff is really appealing. Like I can't even, there's certain Bus Driver albums I don't even really like, but I really appreciate that he's a guy who, you know, picked whatever beat he thought would be fun to rap over and not like, you know, what he thought would people would appreciate, you know. So like with me, I never expected anyone to like the stuff because I've been putting out music forever, and for the most part nobody ever liked it in the first place. But music got me laid, so she's a big
guess
fan,
that's fair enough.
You know,
I have a suggestion or a point maybe, which is that you owe it, in some sense you owe it to yourself. Or maybe, I don't want to say you owe it to fans because I think I'm a strong proponent that people should make art for their own sake. But I think everyone owes it to themselves to make the best possible art they can make. And half-assing any sort of art, it feels like it should be something shameful, you know?
I think
not that I'm telling other people how to do what they want to do, although I kind of am. But
well, here's the thing.
I do think you have potential and you are passionate. If you really put effort in, you could probably make some good music.
All right, let me try to explain this in terms of how I see it, because for me, like, I never really think about myself as like what I've done so far or in this moment. I think about like where am I in the progress I'm trying to make towards the end goal, right? So for instance, with music, I'm at a point right now where I'm getting better. I've figured out how to write like good lyrics, like how it works, you know, not necessarily saying that I've like written amazing lyrics, but if you look at some of the newer songs I've done, you can tell I'm putting a lot more effort into like multisyllabic rhymes, clever wordplay, just deeper stuff like complicated references and stuff like that. So like, you know, and a lot of that's just from like studying Denzel Curry's raps and like being like, wow, there's a lot of depth you can put into this in subtle ways without even making it, without even necessarily being like ultra lyrical, but like just by calling, you know, making reference to things that cause you to think in a way. So I've been putting a lot of effort into that, and I am trying to learn how to produce on my own, but the thing is, if I try to go full tilt on music, it will mean I have to stop making as many YouTube videos. Like, if I decide, like, you know, the reason I said that JPEG Mafia has been producing since he was 12, like, that's what JPEG Mafia does. You know, like, granted, he joined the army for however many years, and, like, you know, he was just a producer before he became a rapper, and he's been dedicated to that. That is his job. That is what he does. I am not a career musician. I've never been particularly successful at it, and like it's only recently that people have even really been encouraging that behavior. Like all the old albums on the Bandcamp, for instance, or on the old Pure Volume, which rest in peace. I think I don't remember if I managed to download all my Pure Volume songs, because I think it's gone now. Oh God, I hope I didn't forget to fucking get them all. But it used to be that
F and chat.
Yeah, I used to release albums like all the time, and I would write entire behind the scenes, like just the same way I do with my videos now. Every album I ever released, like I would do it on Tumblr. I'd write these long ass text posts explaining the history, no listens, no reads on those. Like I was just doing it for me, and no one encouraged it at all. Victor would listen to my music and be like, it's all just like obnoxious horse shit experimentation, you know? But like, again, it was just fun for me, and I listen to my own music all the time. Like, my music is the stuff, you know, because I'm making the shit I want to hear, and granted, I have problems with most of it. Like, I think my production is mostly garbage. I often don't do enough takes, and then I regret it later. But lately, I have also been going back to songs that I'm not satisfied with and just re-recording them. Like, Sad Boy Anthem is going to be different in the music video version. Freak Power will be different. Not all of them will necessarily be, like, better produced. They'll just be different in some way. But, yeah, I mean, I just don't know what I'm doing. And taking the time to learn it would mean I couldn't be doing this live stream right now. And this live stream pays the bills, music doesn't. But, like, the reason I went to do all those music videos with Victor is that, I thought maybe if I release 11 consecutive music videos, someone will start to care. And then if people start caring, I can give it my all. You know, like I can be like, okay, if people really want to hear like what's the ultimate DigiBro album gonna be like, if like Mindless Self-Indulgence, when they released their last album, they did a Kickstarter for it because they were so used to people pirating their shit and them not making any money for it that they were just like, prove that we can actually profit from this before we make it. Like, we've written the album, I've already got it fully written, but I'm not releasing and recording it unless you pay for it up front, basically. Because, you know, to take the time aside to do that, like, they have to make sure they actually make something from it. And, you know, they were a band who was one of the bigger, like, LimeWire bands, but never made any money off their music in the early days. I feel kind of similarly. It's like, if I test the waters and I feel as though, like, the audience for my music would actually be okay with me not releasing a YouTube video for a month if it meant I was working on a great album, then, you know, I'd feel confident in it. But if I spent a whole month working on an album and 500 people listened to it and it didn't make me any money, I would feel like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to me. I spent 3 months working on an album and 5 people listened to it and I made £5 off it.
That's, you know,
anyway.
It is, and I know a lot of, because I'm friends with a lot of musicians as well, like Just Fern, who, you know, I promote her stuff all the time because we've been friends for 6 fucking years, and I've been a fan of the shit that she's been making the whole time. Now, granted, just like with my music, the production was always a problem, and that's only recently started to be fixed, you know, but like, I saw the unique songwriting through that in her music and was like,
but here's my argument against production has to be good. You like Babyfather and Dean Blunt and all that, and his production is absolutely terrible a lot of the time. True. But he still just has such strong.
He comes up with like, really unique stuff, and I'm sure he's somebody who spends a lot more time listening to like sample diving and stuff. Like, I mean, I don't really consider myself to be like a musician, like musician's musician. I'm like a guy who's doing it in his spare time and hoping that something comes of it, and I'm getting better, and I like that. Like, I like looking at my own progress, but like, if it takes till I'm in my 30s before I can actually take it seriously, I'm okay with that. Because for now, like, I've just got so much shit going on, man, you know? But yeah, I agree. Okay. My production's shit. I don't remember the other argument you wanted to have as well.
I have a bunch of others. I have one about Digi's turntable. I have one about politics, and I have one about K-On! Best Girl.
All right,
Although you might agree with me, Best Girl.
Let's have the chat vote which one you want to hear: politics, K-On!, or because I'm only gonna let you do 2. I don't want you to be on here all day. But
yeah, that's understandable.
All right, so chat, let us know. May, can you see what they want us to do?
2 for K-On!
It sounds like K-On!, so.
Oh, okay. Well, you might agree with me, so I don't know. Best girl in K-On! Is objectively Ui. Not Yui, Ui, the sister.
You know, she's not my favorite girl, but I am okay with her being considered best girl. I mean, I'm okay with any of them being considered best girl. Like, you're not gonna come in here and be like, oh, fucking, this is my favorite, and I'm gonna be like, no, she's a bitch. Like, no, they're all great.
That's true, except
maybe June. Yeah. If you came in here and your favorite was June, I'd be like, really? That's her name, right? The third friend of the younger ones.
Yeah, she's not as well fleshed out though. No. Like, she's not a major character, whereas Ui has a lot of characterization in season 2.
Well, you can just go ahead and make your argument for why you like Ui. I'm okay with that. If you just want to.
I mean, she's just best girl. She's just like a. She's the most wife material of any anime girl. She can cook and clean amazingly. She will support you.
Here's the thing. I've spent a lot of time masturbating to K-On! Characters. Because I have a lot of K-On! Posters, and it's inevitable. They're sexier in the posters than they are in the show, is the thing. Like, they're not really sexually attractive in the show that much, but like, on the posters, they are. So I've got all these posters, and, you know, when you think about Ui, she would never love you. She only loves Yui. She's obsessed with her sister, and
see, this is the thing. If I think about me personally, any anime girl in the world is never gonna love me. Like, I mean, this is getting a bit personal, but I think I'm pretty. I I'm not the sort of person that the stereotypical cute girl, moe girl archetype is attracted to.
I don't know if that's true. You seem like a charismatic enough speaker. You're passionate about music.
Well, that's just because I'm drunk right now.
All you need to have is passion and mild charisma, and you're good. And it sounds like you've got those things. So I'm sure moe girls would fucking be all over your shit.
Okay. People are saying in chat there's not an argument.
There is not an argument at all. All right, well, I'll let you do one more since that did not eventuate into anything.
Alright, I may as well talk about politics then, although it's a terrible idea and people are gonna... I've got the crowd on my side right now and they're all gonna hate me in a second.
Alright.
Okay. The state, that is government, nation, the whole concept of the state was a terrible idea and should be gotten rid of. And yeah.
Okay,
no.
Clarify what you mean by the idea of the state.
So, I guess I would call myself an anarchist, although I'm not a anarcho-syndicalist or anarcho-communist. I guess you could call me an egoist, kind of like, Max Stirner. I don't know if anyone in this stream has read any politics, but
I haven't read anything.
Yeah.
So just all right. Well, okay. Just describe to me what you want the world to look like. That's the easiest way.
Essentially, without government or state power, but not like a communist version. Well, it could be, but not like where everything is syndicates and everything's run by unions, because I think unions are just another layer of bureaucracy, which is essentially just creating a new ruling class, and it defeats the whole purpose.
So okay, hold on. Let me take a step back to process everything. So are you saying that you think that the state is a mistake or was a mistake? Like, was it a mistake to ever have created it, or is it just
yes,
like
I think it was a mistake to ever have created it, but I also think it should be gotten rid of and should not come back.
So okay, what is your game plan for that, and what do you think humanity would have been had we never come up with like the idea of like countries, I guess?
Well, I mean, this is kind of the hippie argument, but I mean, you smoke weed, you understand.
Sure.
They're just like lines, man. They're just like arbitrary, like, come on. They're just lines,
Sure.
Countries don't really exist outside of people's imaginations. This is where I go back to my obscure politics book, The Ego in Its Own, by Max Stirner. He talks about these things called spooks, which is basically an idea that people hold as higher than themselves.
Okay.
One example would be morality, where people imagine this thing to exist objectively, but really, if you actually take a second to think about it, the way morality exists right now in Western countries is entirely arbitrary and pretty much based on Judeo-Christian religion.
I agree with all that.
So okay.
I mean, I would say that when you say that the state was a mistake, like, I feel as though the reason we, developed everything we have in culture essentially is that, like, at the moment it made sense, and then we just have to continually reconsider that. And unfortunately, I think that most people are not really in a position to reconsider, because most people don't really know fuck from shit, and, like, just don't know anything. And so, like, when it comes to something like, hey, let's, like, I think there was probably a point where the idea of a state was, like, a great idea that got us out of some kind of age of darkness that was probably, like, really solid, but then once we had it, and it was like, okay, well, we've made it past whatever the problems were of that era, but now everyone's already grown up with this system, and people who are in power want to stay in power, and, like, the average Joe does not realize that they can do something to change that. So
but that's not actually true. If you look at actual history, there is no evidence of that happening. Rather than creating a state to help the people, it's rather someone wants power and uses force, because if we think, this is again goes back to morality not really existing, that we think of violence as bad, but in reality it's just the state has a monopoly on violence. Police are allowed to beat you up pretty much without any sort of repercussion. Maybe not. Maybe sometimes they might get in trouble if it gets caught on video, but they can chain you up legally and send you to a little box, and then they lock you in a box for years, you know, for doing something that might be completely arbitrary, like smoking weed or something, right? So
I don't think you. I mean, but to say that just means that like government is bad is kind of throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
Most things that government does, this is kind of goes back to my problem with a lot of other people who call themselves anarchists, is that they say they want to get rid of the state, but then they want to replace it with something that then does everything that the state already did, which in my opinion is just creating another state.
Yeah.
So we don't really a lot of things, which this gets into really edgy territory right now. So civilization or society is also one of these quote unquote spooks that Stirner talks about. We say there's the meme, you know, we live in a society, Joker face, whatever. But in reality, it's not a tangible object. It's not even anything that exists outside of people's minds. It's just like, it's just enforced by this state entity. So without it, saying society would collapse, that might be true, but society never really existed in the first place. It's just a group of people in a place that's close to each other.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I agree with the idea that I think changing the systems in place would not be... I just fucking got Madoka's clothes. I just went to my room and there was a box, and I opened the box and I got Madoka's clothes. Sick. Except I don't have space in my inventory, so I think it was put in my box. Anyways, I definitely think that I don't think it would be as hard to replace systems as everyone thinks it would be. Like, if everyone cared to do so and participated, but like, if we don't have the state, who's gonna stop people from killing each other? Like,
people. Well, this is where I side with libertarians. You can just have a gun. Who's gonna kill you? You just shoot
a guy
them.
with a bigger gun.
Well, that's true. But people don't default to killing each other.
No,
there are
they don't.
native...
But like at the same time, if no one's afraid of doing it, what is gonna stop the people who want
But
to?
this is another thing. There are native societies, as in what's the word? Indigenous cultures, as is the proper PC term.
Yeah.
There are indigenous cultures which have operated for longer than our Western culture and still operate, which do not have.
Of like humans.
I don't think there is a natural state of humans.
You don't think so?
I don't think. Yeah.
You don't think how like other animals have organizations, like group of organizations? Lions have prides, where they.
But those all change depending on their circumstances. If you put lions in captivity, the traditional pride order changes. So when humans are in captivity of our own social order, the way we interact with each other changes and is contextualized by that order.
Yeah,
but don't you think it's strange that every single early society was like a tribe? You have the Native Americans, you have the Aborigines, you have African tribes, you have.
But they all operated very differently.
They did operate differently. Like if you look at Native American
tribe
tribes,
is just a name for a group of people, right? It's not necessarily
definitely, but
a way of operating society.
But he's saying that it's not necessarily a state, though. Like,
it is though. There is a leader in a tribe. All organizations.
There's not the traditional. A lot of traditional Native American tribes, although they have someone called a chief, but the chief doesn't. Although we assume.
They have a council. If you look at the Iroquois, they have a council,
yeah, that's true.
which is a state.
That is true. They do some have a council. And a council is not necessarily a state either, because it can be horizontally operated.
It is a human, like it's something that humans made. It's not a natural thing. It's
but do they enforce laws? Like, do they enforce laws with violence?
Definitely. They kill people. Okay, so people who is a murderer, they have like a trial. They have to come clean to their society and admit what they did wrong. And if the society doesn't accept them, they will exile them. And that's always been the case in certain, like, I've studied Iroquois tribes. Like, I minored in Native American studies in college for a little bit, so I do know a little bit about Iroquois tribes. And
well, for what it's worth, I think that when it comes to the idea of like forming a group, it pretty much is just because it is easier for humans to live in a group than it is to live alone. It is not easy to...
Humans can't live alone. How are they supposed to farm? How are you supposed to coordinate farming?
I'm not saying live alone. You can live in a group without being united under a centralized government.
I agree.
Communes exist, for example.
I'm sort of getting to that. That like, I I don't disagree with your stance that a state is not necessary, but I do think that the only way we could live in a world where there is like no concept of countries, where everyone's just their own individual who does whatever they want, is if like we all had a not only the same but a good and functioning like working understanding of like what would be the best way for like how do I put it? Like if there is no state, no one is there to say like this is what is right and this is what is wrong on the whole. Everyone just has to make up their own minds, right? And as soon as
this
somebody
goes back to morality again.
Like as soon as somebody comes up with something that they want you to believe, like they let's say there's someone who's like, oh, I'm just gonna take over this world that is completely independent because like not everyone is educated or happy or like able to function well in this world, so I'm gonna capitalize on that and build a state with those people and fuck over everybody else. And then everybody else goes, well, now we need a state in order to not get fucked by that guy. And like that's why the state exists, you know, is that
this is a common argument. I guess it can be related to the tragedy of the commons, right? But if you actually look at the English commons that existed, they were run by just collectives. So they weren't. People thought like the what's it called? The thought experiment goes that people would end up segregating themselves into their own little sections to protect themselves. But in reality, what happened? I mean, I live in England, so I can see this. There's even remains of the commons still around where I live. That people actually worked together to share the place, and the only reason it ended up getting divided up was because the ruling class at the time decided to use force, which they
that's the thing. That's what I'm saying, that like at the end of the day someone's going to decide to do that. Like I would love to believe like I'm pure all the way through like just libertarian guy, right? Like all I care about is do whatever the fuck I want as long as I'm not hurting anybody. But like not everyone thinks that way, and as soon as someone realizes that they can take advantage of the fact that the world they are in does not have centralized power that can stop them, they will just become the centralizized power. All you need is a charismatic individual, you know.
Imagine if you were from like 2,000 years ago, before the modern concept of a job existed. A lot of people think that we have it better now in terms of time we work than they ever did in the past.
2,000 years ago, the modern concept of a job did exist. You had carpenters. If you look at the Bible, people had specific
That's true.
roles.
Okay, there was jobs, but for example, let's talk. This is not 2,000 years ago. This is like 200 years ago. Russian serfs, right? Russian serfs only worked on average 2 days a week. It was considered to be cruel by them. Like, your master would be cruel if they forced you to work more than 2 days a week. Right. Nowadays, everyone works 5 days a week and never questions it. Most people work, well, some people work more than 5 days a week.
Right.
2 jobs or whatever.
Most people work more than 5 days a week. Most people work,
I guess
like,
that's true.
every day. Maybe if they're lucky, they get a day off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's that.
When I worked at Target, I got a day off a week if I was lucky.
Yeah, I don't know if that's most people though. I mean, actually, I would say it probably is most people if we're talking globally, for sure. But
which is even worse. So most people work maybe 6 or 7 days a week, even, right? In that case, if you took a serf from that time period and took them somehow magically into the modern world, they'd be like, "What the fuck have you done? You have all this crazy technology.
Yeah. Well,
you could have automated all these jobs, and you've created all these bullshit jobs."
Well, what we did was that during the 1900s, there was an industrial revolution, and we needed a fuckload of people to man all these fucking factories, and then we built machines that could do it, and now we don't need all those people anymore, and it's fucking shit.
But the system is broken, so we still need jobs in order to have money, right. Even though
I totally agree that the system needs to be rethought. I just think that if we tried for a system where we have no state, I just think inevitably someone is going to take advantage of it. Someone's gonna say.
Do you think a stateless class of society is would be the ideal?
I would say so. I just think that I cannot imagine a reality in which it continues for long. You know, like without any kind of like, now granted, the ideal to me would be something that's barely a step above that. It would just be like, let's have something in place that we generally agree on that just doesn't, like, that fucks with as few people as possible, but still can do things that we want to happen. Like, you know, like arrest people if they fucking kill you, you know, like, and granted, like you said, you can't just carry a gun. Everyone can be their own judge, and it's not really that different from the world we live in, to be frank, because, like, I mean, people still do kill each other, so it's not like you get rid of murder by outlawing it. But I do think that generally the cultural brainwashing works. Most people don't fucking kill each other because we've been told not to. And, like, not to say that we inherently would just kill people if not for that, but I do think that there are people who, if there were no repercussions, would have done it a long time ago, you know?
Okay, let me switch up my argument a little. This may not reflect my personal beliefs. Shouts out to LV Montano. What about if instead of trying to create a new society or edit our current society, we were to go back to a primitive pre-industrial society with minimal technology, and everyone was basically just living off the land, you know?
Yeah.
Like that sort of style. Would you think that would be a good thing or a bad thing?
I think that it would, at this stage, okay. Are we the same people? Like, is it us who are in that society, or is it just a whole?
Let's say there's a insurrection tomorrow, and let's say there's a nuclear war tomorrow, and the world is destroyed, and most humans are dead, and the only way to live is to live off the land. Do you think that overall that would be an improvement? Because
because
there are
humanity
people
is inevitably going to be lost if we don't get off this planet. Everything will be for naught.
Okay,
So
if we don't, this is the thing about getting off the planet, is that I'm gonna be stuck here. You're probably gonna be stuck here. Elon Musk will be fucked off to Mars doing whatever he's doing.
Not if we solve
Jeff
death
Bezos
before
will be
I
up.
die. Then I get to leave the planet.
Oh, I would love to live in Serial Experiments Lane or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna happen. And also, if that did happen, you can bet that the Wired would be owned by Google.
I tell you
or
what,
fucking Amazon or something.
CGP Grey has not given up, and therefore I have not given up.
All right, let's get
CGP
somebody
Grey
else
has
on,
some
'cause
extremely hot
the
takes.
chat
All right,
is
thank you
kinda
for
a
talking
little
to me.
antsy.
Check out my SoundCloud.
All right, sick. Have a nice day.
You too.
All right, let's get this apostle guy because he's been waiting for a while.
Alrighty.
Hello.
Apostle, you there?
Okay, look, Digi.
Hello.
I have a confession to make. Like,
Alright.
I came into the stream, I wrote an essay and like a big paper called The Gospel of DIGIBRO.
Uh-huh.
It's like Lord Conrad, I'm the silent apostle dedicated to your work and whatever. And you betrayed me.
Yeah.
You ruined my trust in you. I've watched your content for like 20 years, and today I came in and it was like horrible that I heard that you watch fucking lollies, man. That's horrible. Like, what the fuck?
Did you you didn't know?
What? Dude,
no, I didn't.
Where have you been?
How did you watch that much of my content and never figure this out?
I don't know. Like, whatever. That's fucking retarded. You're no longer my god, and
that's
I quit
good.
your religion.
I'm tired of being people's. I don't want to be anyone's god. It's the worst.
All right.
All
right. So I have a problem that I want to share with you that you can help me.
Go
I have
ahead.
2 cats, and the thing is, like, I really want to fuck one of them. And the problem is that I've been taught all my life that and they're both females. Like, I've been taught that if you want to fuck a female, you need to get her consent.
Yes.
And like, I have no idea how to work this thing. How do I get consent from a cat? Like, it doesn't talk. So.
Well, there's this one image that the bestiality community likes to refer to, the bestiality art community, I mean. That is like the guide to what is acceptable to fuck. And basically it is anything that is capable of cognizance and confer, like, you know, capable of making a decision for itself and expressing that decision to you in a way that it is not only do you understand, but it is clear that it understands that you understand, and also that it is of a mature age for whatever it happens to be. That is the bestiality guide. You can find a picture of this somewhere. Just just type "what's okay to fuck" into Google and you'll figure it out.
All you gotta do is draw up a contract, get like an ink pad, put your cat's paw on the ink pad.
I tried it. They run away and it's retarded. I tried putting them in bed and like put a condom on, just like look at it and whatever. It doesn't work. I always feel so bad because whatever. I thought about killing it, so then.
Okay, well this is not an advice show. Do you want to argue about something, or you just want to talk about fucking your cat?
All right, I want to ask you about like an argument, whatever.
Yeah.
You've been portrayed by many people, and I think yourself also, as like a narcissist, a very big one. The point I want to ask you, like, do you think that your narcissism has helped you grow as a person and also with your content and everything?
You know, I think that I don't know if it's like helped me per se, as that like I think that if it weren't for the narcissism, there's a chance I never would have made content, because like I have always had like growing up I had very low self-esteem. Like, it's not as though I've always had a lot of confidence and not a lot of self-esteem. Like, I've always believed in my ability to do the things that I do, but like growing up I hated myself. I thought I was a piece of shit, and like nobody liked me, nobody ever treated me well. So like I never really like had much to be proud of other than like what I can like look at and say that I know I've done, you know? And the main way you could do that is in comparison to other people. So for instance, like if I come off egotistical in a video like just shit talking anime YouTubers, where I'm like, I'm the best anime YouTuber, I've followed that up by saying this in other places, that I don't consider that high praise. I just don't think there's a lot of good anime YouTubers.
I actually agree with that. I think you really are the best, and I don't think that's very narcissistic. You just make the best content.
Yeah, and like I just, the way I look at it, to say that I mean, like, there's not a lot of other people who even have the opportunity to make the kind of content I do. Like, there are people who are making pretty good anime content, but like they can't make it a career, or they don't want to make it a career. And so like maybe they could be better than me if they had time to practice. And like to me, I don't see like saying, oh, I'm the best anime YouTuber as meaning like that is an immutable fact that can't change. I view that as a challenge to like, you know, to everyone else, that you should be proving me wrong, you know, like show me that it's not true, and then I'll believe it. But like again,
I'll try.
You know, when I say that I'm narcissistic, it's less a matter of like, oh, I think I'm amazing and better than other people. I don't think I'm that great. I think I'm okay. I mean, I appreciate what I can do well, and I think I do a lot of things poorly, especially like that guy who called in about my music. Yeah, my production is fucking dog shit. But like, there's things about the music I like, so I'm gonna keep promoting it. I'm gonna keep talking up how much I like it, because I want people to fucking look at it. I'm not gonna tell people, oh, here's my new song, it's a pile of shit, you know, like, here's my new video where I'm wrong about everything I say. Like, obviously I'm gonna, you know, present my stuff as though it's true, and I fucking lost track of what I'm saying. What exactly is your argument again? What are we arguing about?
Nothing. I just like.
Oh, well.
Anxiety is killing me. Well, I just want to say that I've sent you like a ton of weird, cringy DMs if you want to have some fun reading this shitty stuff.
Oh, you're the one who sent me the giant mountain of DMs. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredibly cringy. It's horrible. I was like on LSD and on drugs every time I said it.
I'm glad you brought it up, because yesterday I did acid for the first time.
Wow, amazing! Tell me how it was. I'm really interested.
Unfortunately, we only did half a tab each, because we just happened upon a tab and we each did half. We didn't get to the point of like hallucinating anything, but we felt pretty fucking strange for most of the day, and it was cool. And then we did like, because we only had a little bit, we then spent the rest of the day like doing non-stop fucking dab pen hits for like 8 or 9 hours, and it was fucking crazy.
I started like half a tab as well. And then I went to 2 tabs, and it was extremely insane. The most insane thing I've ever done.
I won't
had
jump
ego
up
diff
that
and
far. I'm just gonna do 1 tab next time.
Yeah, you should. Just be careful with this shit. It's
Yeah.
incredibly risky.
Alright, well, you're getting kicked now.
Thanks.
See you later, dog. What time is it?
It's 9:17.
Oh, we're already over 2 hours. Alright, we'll do one more guy, and this will be the last one.
Word. Let's get Leaf Blade.
Oh, Leaf Bladey. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Leaf Bladeys
Did
had
they just leave?
had stuff to argue about with me for years.
Oh no, I think they literally just left.
Oh, well. Throw in the next one then.
Let's see.
Leaf Bladey's a very big SAO apologist.
Oh no.
Or I shouldn't even say apologist, just fan. Just outright a big fan.
This person's uncomfortably numb, but they just left.
Just grab someone random who's
I'm
in.
doing it.
Huh?
This person's Mr. PHP.
Mr. PHP?
Yeah. We're in. Hello.
PHP, you there? Mr. PHP?
Oh, shit.
Yo,
You
yo,
hear me?
yo.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's going
hear me?
on? What you want to argue
All
about?
right. We're gonna talk Ollie. All right.
Did you say
So new
Aldi?
Ollie or old Ollie? Oliver Francis.
Oh, Oliver. Okay, yeah. What about him?
All right. New or old?
How new?
Like his newest released, and
Like Infinity Boy?
yeah, Infinity Boy and the one that came before.
Generally, I really love Chlorine the most. I think his other stuff is good, but it hasn't like. With Chlorine, I felt like there was kind of a story behind it in a way. Like, not even that it's necessarily a concept album. You know, I made my whole video about it, as you've probably seen, I'm assuming, since you care at all. But, yeah, the stuff he's made since then just hasn't had that, like, conceptuality to me where I felt like I could connect with something deeper than just the surface of what he was talking about. Granted, some of the songs he's made, that one, like, weeb rap he did kind of recently was awesome. I think it was called 9000. I think it was the over 9000 fucking shit. Yeah. So I don't know. It's all fine. I'm just want him to put out another like full-length album, you know? I'd like to see him drop like a 40-minute project or something. Cuz I'm more of an album guy. That's not really an argument though. So, what do you want to
I got one more for you. So
all right.
You're in Massachusetts, right?
Yes.
All right. North Shore or South Shore?
What's your question?
North Shore or South Shore?
South Shore.
I mean, well, we're on the south side of the, I guess, of the city, comparably, so South Shore.
Alright.
Well, it sounds like you agree, so there's no argument.
Leaf Blade is back in here, so...
I'm satisfied.
Alright, you're out.
Let's get Leaf Blade in here. Hey.
Hello?
Leaf Blade, is that you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright, what's going on? What you want to argue about today?
Okay, first off, since I heard a few wrong things said in the chat a while ago, I just wanted to point them out real quick. One, horse girls would suck as legs fans because their legs are basically the bones in them. They're just fingers. They're fingers. Their legs are fingers. It would suck.
Alright, well, what's the next? What do you want to argue about?
Okay, for things to argue about, I heard you saying yesterday that there's no good system for morality, and is that true? Like, do you believe that?
No good system for morality? What do you mean?
Or I thought you said something about.
There's no objective system of morality. That's what I might have said.
I was gonna say I think there could be a good objective system of morality.
All right, what's your idea for that?
I am basically ripping off this idea entirely from a YouTuber called Cosmic Skeptic. But here's how we could define stuff into a moral sphere. We take actions that we can agree that actions are either conscious or unconscious, right?
Sure, I guess.
And we can agree that actions can either promote well-being that actions affect well-being or they do not affect well-being.
Yeah, if you're going to say that anything which promotes life can be considered good and anything which brings us closer to death is bad, I also agree with that. That is the system of morals I personally follow.
Yeah, I was saying, you have to do, something consciously, and also that it has to, affect well-being in order for it to even be considered moral. If it doesn't do either of those, like if it doesn't affect well-being, like fapping to a loli, it doesn't affect well-being, or it doesn't, do that, then yeah, it's not. Then it shouldn't even be brought up into the question of morals.
I agree with you. I think if there's any god worth worshipping, it is the first single cell organism that formed in the tar pits and just had nothing but will to live and propagate. And it's been nothing but billions of years of evolution since then to continue on that same train of thought. So we might as well dedicate ourselves to it.
Okay. Then yeah, I guess we didn't really disagree on that.
All right. Well,
no moral system. I was just thinking, okay, that seems a bit weird, but okay. Here's something I think you definitely do kind of disagree on. It was the idea of Monica being a deconstruction. I do want to say I do think a lot of people present it so shittily. I get why people hate the idea so much. Because everybody goes on like, but Monica's so dark. It's obviously a deconstruction of magical girls.
Yeah.
And it's like every single time. But have you ever read what's that thing called? Let me just pull it up real quick. It'll only take 5 seconds. I have it up here. Remember Monica transgressing the magical girl?
No, I have not read that.
Okay, basically it was a 75-page essay talking about Madoka Magica in the context of, the Magical Girls show. And something I found interesting about it is it basically decided to take apart and pick apart, what is, part of the Magical Girls show.
Right.
There are several things. There's, a totem that the Magical Girl is associated with.
Yeah.
There's always, there's usually always cute familiar that, makes a call to action.
Right.
And these magical girls usually get their powers from their emotions. It's generated by their positive emotions. Now, while I wouldn't say that Monica may have been the first to have, dealt with these, with, turning some of the expectations of these on their heads, I think it does it in interesting ways that a lot of magical girls, don't ever consider.
Okay.
One of the most primary of those is, that the totem grants the girls powers.
Right.
But in Monica, the totem is them now. They are nothing without the totem.
Right.
So they are reduced. Either they have that power, or they are nothing without it. Along those lines, there's also, sorry, talking so fast, I'm just getting a lightheaded.
It's fine.
Along those lines, there's also the idea of which one? Emotions and sort. In that case, it's never. I don't think it's ever been, really shown. Like, well, what if they feel like shit? How does that affect them? At very most, it seems to just say, oh, you can't harness your emotions, so your powers are weaker, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But if your powers are so intrinsically linked to your emotions, wouldn't you expect, for negative emotions to impact you greatly if they're felt, in such, great volume? Shouldn't it have, almost destroy your body or something?
I feel you, like Frozen.
Yeah, and finally, the idea of an evil mascot, isn't, for a twist on the head, isn't, something that could be completely original.
Right.
I also do think it's kind of interesting to have that, case of, well, why exactly?
Okay, well, it sounds to me like you're making the argument for why Madoka is a unique or interesting magical girl show, but what about those makes it a deconstruction? Like, just doing something different isn't the same thing as deconstructing it.
I would say that at the very least, takes interesting subversions on the magical girl genre.
Okay, what I want to ask you is, have you seen Magical Girl Raising Project?
I actually am. I am laughing with it with Hollow of Dawn. I just love it. So shit, goddamn.
It's pretty bad, but you are making the same points that this show has. You could make the same justification that Magical Girl Raising Project would be a deconstruction as well. because they have the mascot character, the girl's power is intrinsically linked to
I
her
would say
emotions.
the thing with I would say the thing with Magical Girl Project though is it doesn't really justify why these things exist. Like when I'm watching it, I actually like you can watch Madoka and you know at the very least it gives it gives motivations for the characters in the now. Like we know that Homer wants to keep Madoka from contracting. We know that Kyubey wants to get the Magical Girls to contract. But with they at least have explanations in the now. Well, Magical Girls can fight witches, and Homura, wouldn't want a new Magical Girl to come. Even though those, are false premises, they at least give us reason to care about it. But with Magical Girl Raising Project, I have no idea why they want Magical Girls in that system. So
they
it just
do
feels
explain
like
it at the end, and it's sort of just like Madoka kind of reasoning. I don't remember the show clearly. I did watch it, the whole thing, though, but...
if I remember correctly, the only reason they do it is because they help girls that are suffering in, horrible situations.
Yeah.
But, turns out to be a lie or something.
Well, I mean, they just pick anybody who is interesting enough because they want to draw power from the world. It's like... They're trying to recruit people for the next Magical Raising Project or something, but...
Whatever the case may be, like, my main argument about Madoka not being a deconstruction is just that, to me, the word deconstruction... And I could be wrong about this, and different people use the word so differently that, personally, I would rather just nobody fucking said the word anymore, because, like, no one
Fair enough.
agrees on it. But, like... To me, it just means specifically, like, a show that is going out of its way to make a point, to take a genre, and then say, this genre, if you tried to make it real, wouldn't work. Like, the whole idea of The Watchmen, which is, I mean, granted, it's possible that this show shouldn't even, or this comic shouldn't even necessarily be considered this. It's just that the word was introduced to me through people talking about Watchmen. But, like... The way it was introduced to me as a concept was sort of that this comic exists for the sake of saying that if there was a real-life Superman, it would be a problem. It wouldn't be a hero, it wouldn't be a heroic tale. Like, if there were real-life superheroes, this is what they would be like. They would be damaged people, they would be sociopaths because they're self-important. They would be, if some one of them actually had superpowers, the government would want control of that. It would be used for evil. Like, it's just generally trying to subvert the entire identity of what a superhero comic's about. It's like, hey, this is a superhero comic with nothing that makes them special, or that makes them, like, what they are. Instead, it's all been replaced with, like, cynical versions of the same. So with Madoka, on the one hand, it is a cynical show, and it is dark, but in the end, it's got and not counting the movie, granted, but, like, in the original show, it had a pretty hopeful ending, like, it wasn't, ultimately that different from the message of a lot of Magical Girl shows. It was just, like, a different one.
The show, in a sense, like, deconstructs it, but it actually reaffirms it, in a sense. It says that it's worth believing in these kind of systems, to get it.
You could even call it a reconstruction in that sense, that it calls into question what Magical Girl shows are about, but then ultimately comes to the same conclusions that they come to. And, you could see it that way.
Yeah, that's actually, like, my viewpoint on it. I think it deconstructs, then reconstructs it, and that's actually why I, like it quite a bit. We see the girls, face issues that would, come from, having to fight, evil, as kids, not being able to, have friends, not being able to, having the weight of, lives, on you. And that kind of, weight has been shown to be very damaging, to people who are, either doctors, who are rescue workers, those people who, crack under that pressure, of not being able to save someone.
Yeah.
And, but, in the end, it does reaffirm it. It's worth having that hope. And I actually do think it's worth it more, like, when a deconstruction, does reconstruct it and say it is worth having these.
Yeah.
It is worth believing in it.
Well, yeah, I think that's a pretty good argument. I I can cop to the idea that like whether the show is full on quote unquote a deconstruction, it does attempt to like, you know, reconsider elements of the genre, call them into question, even if it does eventually reach the same conclusion. So I guess I agree with you for the most part.
And then finally we'll get to the SAO. But,
yes. Don't want to blue ball the audience. Let's give them the SAO. What do you want to say about SAO?
Okay, I guess first off, you do, you know, like kind of hate it when people like misrepresent you as a person, right?
Yeah.
I mean, don't you think it is kind of, you know, like shitty to misrepresent Kalahari even if you don't like his work?
So what do you think about him I've misrepresented exactly?
I mean, I feel like, you know, when you go out of your way to, you know, like make, you know, like, you know, snide jokes, you know, like, you know, he got that, you know, idea probably, you know, from, you know, he ripped that idea probably off right from .hack.
Right.
I feel like, you know, that's very, you know, unsourced speculative, you know, unsourced speculative information about the guy.
I mean, I think that the way I present that information in my video is to, you know, say that it is speculative. Like, I don't say he ripped it off. I say, you know, it came out around the same time and that's suspicious. You know, like, it's possible he didn't take any influence from it at all, but, like, it's just, when I look at it and I see that, like, there's so many plot elements are the same and it's, like, came out at, like, you know, right afterwards, practically, and knowing what I know about how light novels are written, like, because there's only a few months between them, and, like, it would have to be that he started, you know, whatever influence he took would have had to be right around, like, he had to write it in that amount of time. But that wouldn't surprise me if that was the case, like, if he wrote the novel in 2 months. So, you know, again, it's not that I'm accusing him, I'm just saying it's suspect. And I think it's worth raising an eyebrow, but, like, if that's not convincing to you, then that's fine, you know, like...
you know, it's like one of those kind of things, you know, like, you know, I see it, you know, kind of like, you know, sorry, it's like in a lot of those, you know, accusatory, you know, videos on YouTube creators and that kind of stuff, you know, where, seems very suspect that this came out, you know, right around here. And, you know, I'm not saying anything, but, you know, definitely out there possible. And it's just kind of like, you know, very, you know, I think it'd be kind of like a damning thing to say somebody, you know, stole their entire premise from somebody else. There's like a lot more,
Well, I have a tendency to think that when you see two things that are very similar, oftentimes there is some relationship. Like, oftentimes, especially in anime, like, most anime takes a lot of influence from other anime. Most of it is kind of a response to whatever's popular in the culture at the moment. And, like, you know, .hacksign, in spite of being, like, a show that's not really remembered that much today, it was a big deal. It was, like, a major franchise they were trying to launch. You know, it's got character designer from Ava working on it and shit like that. So, like, it's just not difficult for me to imagine that he would have taken inspiration from it. Like, not even necessarily that he, like, ripped it off wholesale, because it's obviously not the exact same story, but, like, you know, I take inspiration. Like, I mean, I make videos all the time where I'm like, yeah, I got this idea because Zen Huxtable put out a video yesterday and that made me think about this, you know? Like, maybe just because I do think that way and I embrace making references to things, then, like, you know, to me that's more of a playful jab than, like, a damning accusation, really. You know, I'm okay with people ripping shit up if they do a good job. I just didn't feel like he did, you know?
Okay. I guess, I also felt like, you know, some of your obsession, you know, like with the, sorry, what would it be called? Not exactly plot details, but,
random, like, minor, complaints.
Yeah, you know, it's a cinema sins kind of effect, you know, as people call it.
Yeah,
know.
I mean, for what it's worth, my Sword Art Online videos are old now, and even my Astroscore videos, I think there is too much nitpicking in them. Like, the approach I was taking, especially to the SAO ones, was based on YMS. You know, your movie sucks, your anime sucks, obvious. I stole half his music, and editing techniques for that video, because it was supposed to be a reference to him, but, like, his style is extremely nitpicky because he cares about every little detail, and he will nitpick like all the small stuff because he will, you know, adjust his scores accordingly. For me, it was like, there are little things that bother me in shows, but if I'm going out of my way to find everything wrong with a show, and some of that stuff, while nitpicky, might take a while to explain, because like even if it's not a big deal, like it takes a lot of words to describe it, that's the kind of place where I do think my videos get bogged down, where like when I watch back the Astro Score Sucks, and there's the whole part where I talk about like this, how this one file got corrupted and it looks just really stupid, and I go on like this long explanation of why it's stupid, but like it doesn't really matter. Like I didn't even notice that scene the first time I watched the show. So like I do think that it's a little excessive to catalog every minor fucking thing, and I probably wouldn't do that if I made it.
Yeah,
you know,
I feel like
today.
there's like an over obsession, you know, like with gotcha moments, like because you know it's, you know, something that you can just point out easily.
It's satisfying. It's very satisfying for the audience when you can do something like put a little ding, you know, and like count up. Like that's why Cinema Sins has the counter, because it's like, you know, you get to watch it ding up, and there's almost a similar like a cookie clicker effect of just, you know, the joy of watching numbers tick up and hearing a satisfying sound effect. I guess it's like level grinding.
But I was wanting to talk about, you know, something like opposed to that, because, you know, sometimes these kind of nitpicks, you know, can either be flat out wrong, or, you know, they kind of simplify something. Like, I'm not sure if you know this, but, you know, like, there's, you know, like a bunch of people, you know, always when they see Superman, they'll always go complain about, you know, how, you know, Superman, you know, he goes back in time by reversing the rotation of the Earth. Yes. But, you know, that's actually not what happens. Wow. What's happening is he's going so fast that he's going faster than light, and he's causing time to reverse. And that's being illustrated by the Earth spinning backwards.
Right.
Now, you could say that is an issue with the directing. They are not illustrating that clear enough.
Right.
But nobody ever talks about the directing. They're talking about this is a logical error in the film.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of, you know, because everyone's more concerned with the logic of the film than, you know, it's communicating that information poorly.
Right.
And I feel
like, do you have an example of me like doing that with the SAO in particular?
I did actually have that moment in mind. But when you were complaining about you know, there being a rampant shift in the meta, you know, like you know, several, you know, years into the game. And then, you know, you said people would quit in droves, you know, from that game because of it, right? I would feel like that would actually not really work, because there are examples of tons of games that have constantly shifted metas, where suddenly something that was, you know, considered OP could be shit, you know, just next time. Like, you know, not exactly a...
Well,
you know,
but my specific complaint with that game was that they claim that the like building a character was like this unbelievably difficult thing, that like you'd have to really like grind away for like, you know, months and months, and that people had based all these strategies on the way the game's played, and then they suddenly shook it up and like the strategies were totally different. And granted, I mean, I can agree it's not necessarily a good complaint because of the fact that how do I know if the shakeups were fun or not fun, you know? But like there are games like League of Legends has been like, you know, a lot of its fan base is left because the meta became an incomprehensible clusterfuck, you know? So like, I guess it just depends on how fair you want to be to the world and like what you see on screen, you know? Like you said, it could just be a problem with the directing, that the way the show especially portrays the game just doesn't add up to what they actually are trying to say is happening, you know?
I would say really, like when I was like reading the light novel, because I read it first. Though funnily enough, I only read the Phantom Bullet arc because, you know, basically, there was a reviewer called A Shadow. I watched his review of the light novel, and I thought, you know, there might not be a season 2, so I guess I'll just read that because it sounds cool. So I read it, and basically what came to me, especially after I saw the character, you know, Pale Rider, is that the guy at the beginning is basically saying, oh yeah, agility characters are dead. You know, this is a new way to go. He's basically high on his own shit, you know, from winning the game, and it's basically discounted, you know, the alternate strategy, you know, an agility build. Even though they both have their own pros and cons, it's ultimately.
So you're saying that it's possible that while he is bragging about that, he's not actually right.
Yeah, it's possible that it could be diverse. It depends more on the player who's playing it. Like Pale Rider ended up finding a very interesting play style that ended up being able to counter people who had better guns.
I mean, I honestly could say that if they had so much as put in a scene where after he says that, we cut to some other guy going like, oh, he's full of shit, or that remains to be seen, I might have not made that complaint. And for what it's worth, I mean, the show, well, I think the real reason that line exists, now that I'm actually thinking about it, is to set up for the fact that Kirito is the fastest, so that means he will excel in this game.
I was gonna say it's more like he has the fastest reaction time, because he's actually a power player, I think. He has he's I can't remember what it's called. Power agility. There we go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's pretty much the end of that argument, I guess, because I don't think we really disagreed in the end. And that's it for this episode, I think, because I'm fucking out of steam and I can't figure out where the hell to go to change my goddamn outfit. I cannot remember where I need to go.
Then have a good night.
Alright, see you later, dude. And that's it, everybody. I'm ending the stream. I'm leaving the Discord call. Thanks, everyone, for coming out. Bye. Show up next time if you didn't make it this time. We'll definitely get to you, hopefully, eventually.